There's a distance between us. It's getting hard to reach out. Haven't seen you in seasons, but all I hear is your voice. I know my limits, you can break me down, but I'll stay till the finish line. And I've been counting minutes for quite some time now, just to see you again. And I've been counting days to get away, to see you again, see you again. Been fighting ways to get away, to see you again, see you again. We got millions of reasons to let it all go. Hope we're not too broken. I know I'm not always strong, and I've been counting days to get away, to see you again, see you again. Been fighting ways to get away, to see you again, see you again.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the snooker action and welcome to the Tour Championship. It's the session number 2 in between Barry Hawkins and Un-Nooh as the players are about to come back onto the arena. And what is it going to be? Is it finally going to be a chance for Un-Nooh to have that streak broken where he was the World Open champion last couple of weeks there, or is it going to be the Welsh Open champion of 2026 to step out from the shadow of him not necessarily having the best form that he had right now? It is all down to who's going to be able to perform at the first couple of frames, because if we give you a little bit of a feedback on what was going on beforehand, was that Un-Nooh had a good start, certainly managed to get himself into a decent position straight away, and got the first frame won. Didn't really manage to take the opportunity from that point onwards, but still had a good opening chance to try and make it a 2-0 lead for himself. Didn't work out. Barry managed to have a break of 72 points, which yesterday seemed like a really good trademark for him. And yeah, able to exploit the game really well there, Barry, because if you look at the total points that he scores, 363, and then you look at the way that he's managed to win those frames, you know, the 3 frames that he's won, he pretty much hasn't scored any points at all in those 3. And the first one that he's lost, he scored 8 points. Then the 4th one that he's lost was just a single point there that he scores. And then in the 5th one as well, it was a single point that he scores again, 76, 103 and 96 from Un-Nooh. The only 50-plus breaks from the player from Thailand have actually come in the 1st and the 4th frames, but of course one of them was a great century break. And Barry himself had 3 breaks of 50-plus, having the breaks of 72, 79 and 86 as well. So you had some other breaks of 48 and 42 that were in the end converted into a frame win with exactly the same scoreline of 62 points that he scored in frames number 3 and 7. Different story today though, because remember, Un-Nooh wasn't playing well at the starting point. It looked like he was going to settle himself nicely into the 5th frame. Didn't really work out. Had to try and dig himself really out of that trouble. And yeah, in the end, there was no real chance for him to respond, because you can see in the last 3 frames, 79, 62 and 86 were the points that Barry has scored. And in the end, 14, 26 and 36. So every single one of those frames, Un-Nooh did have a chance, but he wasn't able to take either one of them. And that's exactly why the scoreline is going to be as it is right now. And that leaves Barry with still having a really good advantage next to his name, because simply from the stats point of view, he's now going to be halfway into the quarterfinal meeting with Neil Robertson. That's still, despite him being still one of the top seeded players, if not the top seeded player on the 1-year list. Let's have a look at the session of the draw. Of course, he will be playing either Un-Nooh or Barry here. And right now, it is going to be all down to be seeing on if it's going to be another repeat of Shaun Murphy against Judd Trump, or is it going to be a bit of a different story, and Barry Hawkins or Un-Nooh will be able to break themselves on with a chance of trying to challenge the number 1 on the year list here. And then of course you are going to be waiting for another draw to be completed, with Zhao Xington still waiting for either Wu Yize or Chris Wakelin to be joining him on Wednesday evening for the first session. Right now it is going to be Mark Selby that will still be very much awaiting the winner of the class of 92, because if you look at the way that he goes right now, then it's going to be either Mark Selby or Mark Williams to try and get themselves through the semi-final. John Higgins will have something to say about it, because the match of John Higgins against Mark Williams is about to start alongside us. So once again, it is going to be table number 1, but because of the specifics of the draw, you know, one match is about to finish and the other one is only going to start here. And going to be similar story with Wu Yize against Chris Wakelin, because that match is going to be finishing in the evening session at the same time where the session of Mark Williams against John Higgins should unfold there. But if you look at the way that those 2 matches are actually getting themselves lined up in terms of the odds, every single one of those frames is technically going to be a minor advantage to John Higgins and Barry Hawkins. But of course, Barry has got the upper hand in terms of he's got a 2-0 lead, and basically if you convert that one 5-3 at this stage after the opening 8 frames, so needs to have a little bit of a race to fire for himself Chaya, though, needs to start with a good frame, because it could be the difference between being 5-4 down and only, you feel like there's only one frame in the equation, or it could be down to 3 if Barry's going to be able to find themselves as the winning force in their frame number 9. And just very quickly on the match against Mark Cullen and Judd Trump managed to come back really well from being 4-0 down, had a really good winning streak of the first session as well, and then managed to come out on top with winning, well, for now, getting himself to draw there at 4 frames each. And then, of course, at the second session, the level of snooker stepped up massively. The centuries were flying. Mark Cullen was actually playing really nicely as well. And you probably have to say, there's been the tendency since the intermission in the first session as well, because the first 4 frames have taken us like 2 hours or something, and then, the next 4 have been breezed past in less than an hour's time. And there you have it. It was a 4-all draw before the evening session, and of course, John still managed to come out on top despite struggling earlier on there. He was 5-4 down, managed to come back and get himself ahead in the match for the first time at 7-6, and of course, able to extend that one to 8-6, 9-6, 9-7, and then Alan was able to take one more frame away from him after Trump wasn't able to take the first chance at the frame number 17, but in the end, he only proved a matter of time until Judd Trump was finally able to win his Tour Championship match for the first time in 6 years. So it's safe to say it's not going to be the tournament that he would have been enjoying playing the most, but of course, at the same time, it's going to mean that it's going to be down to a little bit of ranking points for him to try and score. It's going to be talking about prize money, but, if you talk about him trying to maintain that world number 1 spot for as long as possible, of course, he'll have loads of those points to defend at the Saudi Masters at the start of the next season. But at the quarterfinal that he was playing against Mark Williams, of course, he managed to get himself through to the quarterfinals straight away, because of him being a top-seeded player on the 1-year list. He lost now to the eventual winner of Mark Williams by 10 frames to 4. And it was a really good performance from the Welshman that managed to beat all of his opponents apart from Tom Ford, where he needed a decider and a really good clearance as well. Mark Cullen was beaten 10-5, Judd Trump, as I mentioned, 10-4, and Ronnie O'Sullivan was beaten in the final by 10 frames to 5. So it was certainly a campaign to remember. And talk about ranking points, Trump hasn't really got any of those to try and defend there. And speaking of Mark Cullen and this wonderful neon green cue ball, he's colourblind, not a chance this colour will be chosen. Well, I feel like, I can't say I haven't been thinking about it, but there's 2 points, and I keep switching in between there, saying they're never going to do it. And then in reality, I feel like they've done so much on that it wouldn't just be a marketing move, which still probably work out fine, but I mean, I was trying to go onto the WPBSA website, and apparently there is going to be a 2.1, 14.6, and 4.3 rules, which state that the white and the target ball is going to be the cue ball, and it is going to be positioned in the white colour. But another point that I'm going to say about it and against it, that there's absolutely no way that midnight we're going to be able to make a deal with the WPBSA, WSD, whatever, and Saudi were like sat there saying, well, how could we not have thought about it? Because it literally would have been the most Saudi thing to do. And they had 3 years to do it. So you can say what you want about midnight, but something doesn't really feel right. The fact that we have got a green on the table at the same time, and then what are you going to do? You're going to be putting that cue ball to be used as a green and cost 3 points. I mean, one thing I will say in support of it, not in, I like the idea, but I feel like they've come so far down in terms of they got the Wilson as the ambassador. They got the statement from Ferguson saying that, it hasn't changed for 150 years. And we're trying to promote the snooker to the new fans all around the globe. There's a specific link on the website of Midnight about it. But I suppose from the marketing point of view, even if all of that doesn't actually happen, then you still have to be saying that everyone was talking about it for a couple of days. But you feel like sometimes, these kind of things, sometimes you have to say cash is king there. And if they manage to do a deal of some sort, which, I mean, it is going to be a brilliant marketing move, but still, at such an expense of integrity of the game. We'll have to wait and see on that one. But to be fair, you could say two things about the timing of that release. You could say it's going to be right before the Crucible, or you could say it is going to be right before the April Fool. So, stand date, well, it depends. Like, I still have got hope in humanity and the fact that common sense will prevail. At the same time, I do realise that sometimes it doesn't prevail over money, but I mean, I'm genuinely going to be absolutely laughing my head off if I'm going to realise that Saudis have been running their tournaments for 3 years and they haven't thought about an idea like that, because next thing you know, they'll be on the phone to WPBSA and Ferguson, like first thing in the morning, saying, we want all the reds to be painted in the green, we want the cloth to be in the shape of the Saudi Arabia flag, and then we want all the colours to be the golden ball. They're going to rewrite the rules of pool completely there. Good luck with that one. Yeah, exactly. Like, I can only imagine, you know, the thing about for World Snooker Tour right now is that not many people that turn up to these events are actually going to be on social media yesterday. And the ones that are going to the Crucible, I'll tell you what, the first day they see it, there's going to be loads of empty seats there, because you feel like, you know, they said it's going to be used for 17 days, which clearly means it's not going to include qualifiers, which the first round have been released, by the way. I'm going to let you know on how that draw is going to look. So back to the sensible stuff of snooker, as we once again welcome Ben Williams to be the referee. It's even got the website that seems to be frozen now. So then the draw of the qualifiers. So you've got Ken Doherty of the champion playing against Patrick Whelan, reigning world champion of women's snooker, is going to be Bayou against Daniel Womersley. 6-time Crucible finalist is going to be Jimmy White against China's Gao Yang. And then you're going to have tour rookie 14-year-old Michael Subarchuk versus 3-time world women's champion Onin Ji, and rising star Liam Pullen against shootout champion Alfie Burden, and also the world's seniors champion last season. And then it's going to be Hong Kong's legend Marco Fu against the Thailand of Ming Nucharut. And we are going to have the qualifiers to be facing either the likes of Jack Lisowski, Stuart Bingham, Ali Carter, Luca Brissell, Stephen Maguire, Gary Wilson, Jack Jones, and many more. So he's still potentially got Chipchaya as a chance to get himself back into the main draw for the Crucible. Just one day to wait for the 1st of April. I forgot yesterday. Yeah, the thing about it, I felt like, you know, you would have been hoping that you must forget about it. But at the same time, what can you say about stuff like that? There's nothing you can do, and you just have to be praying and hoping that eventually you'll turn up and be saying that it's actually never happened there. Some great games in quality. Yes, to be fair, I'll think about the way to do it, because I am genuinely going to be looking forward to be seeing Michael Sabarchuk there, because I've seen his match against Robertson in the, I feel like it was in the Home Nation Series or whatever, where he had that 97 of a break in the first frame, and then he sort of disappeared. So big up Poland. We'll have to wait and see on what the schedule is going to be. But yeah, I'll probably wait until the second round for that one. But, you know, if you're going to see the likes of Jimmy White trying to get himself back into the Crucible, I feel like he's got 1, 2, 3, 4 rounds to try and make his way through. Can have a look at the draw last season. So, of course, Xiaoxing had to be doing that very much through every single part of qualifiers. Yeah, so you've got last 16 quarterfinals. So there's potentially 4 matches that you have to play for you to get into the main draw. As we now welcome the players back onto the arena. And now there's not going to be any delay here, as we've seen in the match of Weiser against Chris Wakelin. Un-Nooh mustn't have any delays in his game as well, because right now he still finds himself in a little bit of trouble, being 5-3 down. And yeah, what's it going to be then for Barry Hawkins? That is still sitting pretty comfortably into the top 10 for now. You'll have to wait and see on how the ranking points picture is going to be looking at. But for now, with you know, Allen being out of the game already, probably the only player for now that has already been knocked out of the Tour Championship. Chris Wakelin seems like he's going to join him. Despite being 6-2 down, he's always going to have a chance. By the way, talk about a chance. It was a good break-off there by Chipchaya, but still, Barry manages to find a fantastic red into the left corner, but it seems like he's going to come begging for a chance. Ooh, that's a bad mistake. It's not even going to be close. He's tried to do the old trick of rolling that cue ball in behind the brown. The good news for Barry is not even tied this one up to the brown. The bad news is it's still going to be a free ball. But the rule about the free ball is, of course, that you would need to be, if you try to find the snooker there, you need to make sure that whichever colour you take as a free ball is not going to be the one preventing the cue ball from seeing those reds. And Judgment Day is amazing. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it was quite boring this season in the UK Championship, but it's never boring in Sheffield, is it? With the likes of, I mean, when you've got the setup of Stuart Bingham, Jack Lisowski, Gary Wilson, potentially Chipchaya to be in there, Jack Jones, and you always talk about those qualifiers. Has he tried to go for the yellow? He has tried to go for the yellow there, Chipchaya. And a bit of a weird shot, to be fair, because, you know, he wasn't really too hungry for those 4 points today, you would have thought. And 2 points, I should say, because he wasn't playing for the Reds. And also, he wasn't trying to snooker Hawkins or anything. So, anyway, just a safety there for Barry to play. After that, yellow is going to stay out away from the left middle. And now back to Barry Hawkins it goes. But another thing about, the last thing that I will say about the neon green thing, I'm pretty sure it's not quite legal for you to be introducing that one at the World Championship, because the rules clearly say and clearly state the exact colours that you should be having. You can't really just say, well, we've got a sponsorship deal, we want to, whatever, whichever way you phrase it, whether it's going to be, well, we want to bring the snooker to the fans, we want to bring the new audience. You can't really just say, well, the neon green is going to be cue ball now. You need to be putting that in the rules, and you can't really just do that by, saying, yeah, we'll change it now, and then we'll change it backwards. It doesn't really work like that. And I'm not sure how the decision will have to be improved, but it even sounds ridiculous the way that you introduced it for the biggest tournament of the season, and then because you realise it's going to be a crap idea, then you're just going to go back to the original working version. For now, it's another safety shot that Barry has played. This time around, this could be a chance for Chipchaya, and he's certainly managed to take this one away after Barry Hawkins' shot was really nicely taken into the left corner at the start of the frame. This time around, it's going to be Chipchaya that takes a chance away and gets himself lined up for the blue. Pound speaking louder. Well, we'll have to wait and see, but wouldn't be the first time, certainly wouldn't be the last thing, but I mean, surely you can't go against the rules that you are the ones that actually created them, because it just, once again, I'm not even going to talk about the look that he's going to give to snooker, that you can buy anything for money right now. And the fact that you're changing the rules just so you get a little bit of a... By the way, I do want to see, as Chipchaya taking a very aggressive route on the cue ball in terms of trying to get that one into the red. That was a bad shot that he's played. And the black, actually, is not going to reach in the end. So, once again, it seems like good old struggle there for Chipchaya. Same as it was yesterday at the starting point of the first session. Now, of course, he would have been playing for the red into the right corner, but this is now going to be available for Barry Hawkins here. And, yeah, just thinking about potentially playing the shot onto the black or the pink. It seems like he's gone for the short selection on the black now, for him to have available, supporting Barry. Go on, Barry. Well, he got himself a chance, and he certainly got himself even better opportunity now. Played that black brilliantly well. You know, sometimes you see the players struggling with taking those colours away from the corner pockets, and still managing to separate those reds away from each other with the cue ball. Now, it is going to be Hawkins to try and get that cue ball to be rolling up the table. Get himself lined up for the blue here. And make sure that he doesn't have any issue with taking the brown or blue here in towards the left middle. You feel like he hasn't really got the angle on the blue that will force that cue ball to go far enough to the top end of the table, which probably leaves him with the brown or green to be considered about. The brown is going to be a simpler solution, or just about. I mean, talk about being squeaky bum time. That brown has rolled in for a couple of seconds there before eventually dropping into the pocket. So it's a little bit shaky now, but the most important thing for Barry is that he finds himself 3 points clear, and he's the one at the table having 3 more reds very much at his disposal. About to play for the ping, needs that cue ball to keep running though, and he seems like he's just about good enough of the angle to be sending that cue ball down the table again. So you can see there, Mark Williams and John Higgins' match has started already, so going to keep an eye on that one as well. And of course, this one will have to finish in the current session as Barry tries to give a little nudge to the yellow as well, whilst playing the pink into the right middle and managing to get that cue ball down the table nicely. Chipchaya still on high from winning. Yeah, I feel like it seemed like he was actually pretty calm there after taking that win. Oh, I mean, talking about that, is Barry Hawkins going to be a little bit high from winning? What's it going to be here then? Because he's just missed a simple red into the corner. Remember, these two are the most recent winners of the ranking event in the snooker season. The Welsh Open for Barry and World Open for Chipchaya there. Now, what's it going to be? We've already seen the English Open champion to be out. Every single one of the players on this season Tour Championship has managed to win something this season. And what's it going to be here then? Is he going to try and play a little bit of a cluster shot? That is brilliant there from Chipchaya. Creative and really nice technique as well. You know that red that Barry's missed? He's left that one over the right middle, but at the same time, he couldn't quite see the angle of the cue ball to be giving it a little nudge with a thin cut. So what he's decided to do is the red that he had closer to the cue ball to be absolutely hammered into the other red and basically use it as an in-off shot into the right middle. Worked out brilliantly well. And now he gives him with a chance to be putting at least 2 more reds. Make sure he's going to be the one that has got a minimal point advantage. And right now, potentially even trying to take that cue ball into the main bunch of 83 points worth of reds. He seems to have played this one well. Is he going to get a little bit of luck? Well, we will. That was certainly fortunate, but also you have to say there was a brilliant shot there that Chipchaya has taken. And the fact that he was able to use that cue ball nicely off the left side, certainly proving that point. Now then, 2 points as the advantage here for Chipchaya. So what's he going to be able to do with those reds? He's put one of them to be on the right side cushion and the black to be on the black ball cushion at the same time. I don't know if money's stronger than rules, but I would say snooker fans of the traditional game can be wrong, but except the Golden Bowl in Saudi Arabia, the tournaments in China are traditional. Yeah, I'm not sure. Listen, you can speculate about it all you want, but I feel like the only time that we will realise about it is either tomorrow, the day after, they will announce that it was a joke for the April Fools, or we'll have to wait for the Crucible. And then, you know, the worst thing is, it's going to be turned into a little bit of a dictatorship at that point, because they'll be like, if they get a huge backlash online from the fans and they can see that the viewing numbers are going to drop massively, then they can always just bring it back to the second round and say, well, you know what, we were trying to do something different. It's a little bit of a shame that fans don't appreciate that, whereas in reality, they would have just got the money for the first round and, you know, it goes back to square one. Well, this is my point of view. I'm not saying I'm right on that one, but it's certainly the way that it looks to me. But at the same time, I have to go back to the same point that I keep making. How on earth have Saudi missed a loophole like that? Because as ridiculous as it sounds, you know, it's certainly going to be working very effective for midnight. And, well, something that is not going to be working very effective there is Chipchaya, who's queuing there. And the pot success of his seems to be dropping down the table. After such a brilliant split of the pack that he's played, now he's about to give a real chance away to Barry Hawkins after missing the pink into the left corner. So then, the good old struggles of the yesterday seem like they haven't left either Hawkins or Chipchaya here. And now we find themselves with 13 points separating the two players. And let's see the way that the Barry's going to be able to handle those 3 reds with 3 colours, and then you also will need the yellow to green transition, which for now seems like it's going to be a bit of a problem for him to work through as well. To do this change, it won't be long until they start playing with marshmallows. Oh, yeah, the thing about it is that when you open the floodgates for that, I mean, you're really going to tell me this is going to be the first time in a lifetime that we hear about it, and that it's going to be one-off thing, and it will never happen. No, because they'll realise that either fans will or they won't put up with it, and at the same time they're going to be like, well, you know what, if they're going to put up with it, why don't we just make it every year? And if we make it every year, why don't make it every tournament? there's not going to be any bounds on that. By the way, Hawkins, another miss there on the pink. I mean, seems like they're playing this game off you win, no after you. Because, both of them had at least 3 opportunities there. And yeah, we find themselves with 6 points advantage, now 7, with Chachaya's favour. And still very much the standard of play that has to go up there in a couple of levels. Because we've seen that step up from Chachaya in the early part of yesterday. After he was able to find that break of 69 or 67 points, can't quite remember. Making sure that the green is about to disappear into the yellow pocket. And, well, trying to take that cue ball alongside the side cushion. Didn't really work out, but at least he's still going to be seeing that red in close proximity. Leaves him with 10 points as the advantage. And the battle for the red is about to begin here, really. Because apart from that red, you've got the yellow to be out of place. And by the way, look at that for a shot. Brilliant there from Chachaya. Managing to use the green and blue really well to get the snooker lines up on Hawkins now. And checking in, go on Barry. And Champ is losing. Well, for now he is. And he's certainly going to be the real threat for winning this frame. Now then, Barry got the contact on the red. But has he got enough of the purchase on that one to be guiding it far away from the cue ball? And I'll tell you what, you feel like if Chachaya can see enough of this red, then he should be able to pot it into the yellow pocket. Well, the answer is he can't see any of it. And had to be taking that red carefully towards, well, the cue ball, I should say, towards the left side cushion. Managed to cannon that red away. Put it close to the left corner now. So what's it going to be then for Barry? Can he try and cut the red into the left corner? Because if he's going to be able to get himself lined up for the yellow, and, well, I mean, for the yellow as a 6 color clearance, then he should be lined up nicely for winning this frame altogether. Now then, he got the red in. Is he going to have the shot on the positional play on the colour? No, he won't. Well, a bit disappointing that for Barry because he played that red really well. And he got a huge bounce on the cue ball, but seems to have caught the brown from the wrong way. And now he's going to be snooker lined up surely. Because even if he gets the brown in, there's not going to be any value in just taking that one away. So positional play. And a chance for a pot success there. Over 4 points there, surely. And it's now going to be all down to Chachaya to try and think about this one. Because once again, he finds himself in a difficult position of a snooker. Now, has he got that yellow to be close enough to the side cushion? He got the contact in. Pushed that one from the left side to the right side there. But I feel like he's put that one a bit too close to the right middle. The problem is, though, once again, the cue ball is going to be far away from the yellow. So it makes the shot a little bit tricky to be making anyway. But also, how are you going to be able to get yourself lined up for the green? It's going to be very interesting to be seeing there. Now, Hawkins needs that cue ball to run. He managed to get the yellow in. And has he got enough of that green to be seeing to try and take that one away? It seems like he's going to be close. But at the same time, it seems like he's not going to be able to see enough of that green to be taking it into the, well, green pocket here, really. And just carefully take that one away off the right side. Make sure that cue ball is going to bounce towards the green pocket. And yeah, it's a good shot there that he's played. Making sure that he still leaves himself in with a chance. And at least Barry was able to actually find some sort of contact on that green. And making sure right now it is going to be a bit of a shot to lose from Chachaya's point of view. He's played this one really well, despite having to use that cue ball to go onto the ball cushion. He manages to have the green to cannon away nicely onto the lower end of the table. And now all of a sudden, it's Hawkins that finds himself having to get himself out of a snooker situation. Now he's done that. And has he put that green close enough to the ball cushion? Well, it seems like he's just about got the purchase to be putting that green a couple of centimeters away from the ball cushion, which in the end probably leaves Chachaya with a disappointing safety shot that he needs to be playing now. And, well, he's played this one pretty badly to me. Yeah, the cue ball is going to be on the top end of the D there, but the green should get himself positioned quite close to the left corner. So then if he's going to have enough of the backspin to try and to add onto the cue ball, he should be able to get past the black from the right-hand side of it. And off the right side cushion, take that cue ball to go all the way for the brown. And then it's going to be all down to making sure that he gets that green to be taken carefully into the left part of the table. So then he's gone for it. He's made that green in. Now he got the cue ball to contact with the black, but still he's going to be able to catch the middle jaw to the extent that he's still just about, but going to be lined up for the brown there. A little bit fortunate there from Barrett, massively fortunate with the way that he managed to have that green safe in the previous time of asking. Now about to go level on points. If he gets the brown in, so needs the sequence of brown, blue and pink here. And he's not going to be able to get the brown in to get himself started with. He tried to do a little bit too many things there. He wasn't going to be lined up for the blue anyway. And he missed that brown by an absolute mile. And yeah, just carefully taking this brown probably away from the danger once again there, Chipchai, because as much as the black is going to be in a very appealing place for him right now, he needs to be realising the factor of the cue ball, that he mustn't take too far away down the right side cushion. And well, to be fair, that's exactly what he's trying to do, whilst having that brown to be planted perfectly onto the black ball cushion. So nearly got the paint to be into play as well, and for it to be standing in between the cue ball and the brown. In the end, Hawkins should be able to see it, but he still needs to be taking this one very thin on the edge. And ooh, this is going to go wrong. Now Hawkins needs a little bit of a bounce for the cue ball, and he's not going to get it. Remember, Chipchaya only needs, does he only need? He's got 4 points as an advantage, so to be fair, he needs the brown and the blue for 13 points of a lead, which will guarantee him a respot at that point. But yeah, let's see if he's going to have a chance to try and take the pink with that one as well, because for now, he's played a really good brown. It's going to be straight in this one though. So then what's he going to be? Trying to set himself up with a mid-range shot on the pink, or just try and take the gamble of rolling that cue ball towards the right side cushion. No, he decided to just stun the white, do the simple thing here, and get himself lined up for 13 points of a lead. He should be able to take this pink away though, because of it having no pressure on him at all. And in the end, he's certainly able to do so with a break of 15 points to finish it there. Not going to bother about the black. And in the end, Chipchaya takes that one away. And it is now going to be 5 frames to 4, the lead that Barry Hawkins has against Chipchaya Un-Nooh. I don't know why it's saying 5 frames to 3 there on the official scoreline. And there you go, now they changed it. And once again, with the good old tradition, let's have a look how the class of 92 are doing. By the way, before I look at the scoreline, I just want to say, I feel like it is going to be absolutely Higgins' match to lose. I know he hasn't got a huge, brilliant record against Williams. And to be fair, he's lost out on the first frame with a break of 59 points being enough there for Williams to get himself over the line. But, you know, whatever you say about Williams, is he not the player that has been struggling the most in the top 10 recently? I know you've got Allen that has been dropped out of the top 10 right now. Selby hasn't been firing on all cylinders either, but the likes of Williams and Robertson, I'm not going to say it baffles me, but it is a little bit interesting that you've got the likes of Williams and Robertson still to be very much in the top 5 of the World Ranking Tour, based on how well or badly they have done this season. So if you look at the ranking points they have, of course, Williams is going to have a little bit of those to defend at the Tour Championship here, as he now finds himself on exactly 1 million. And Robertson is going to have 1.1 next to his name. And Trump, of course, would have lost out on a little bit of those ranking points as well. So if you look at Zhao, it's certainly been on the rise. Sean Murphy, absolutely. Sal Godon has been really quiet as well. Then Ronnie O'Sullivan has announced himself back to the top 10 after reaching the final of the World Open. So then Kyron, can't really blame him for actually not taking place in this tournament at all. And as I say, so Williams, Robertson, and probably Sal Godon and Selby are going to be the biggest underdogs. Of course, Sal is not going to be playing in the Tour Championship, which is a little bit weird to me. I mean, he got himself lined up with 643 1,000 worth of ranking points for the 2-year list, but I'm not too sure what it's going to be for just this season there that he scores. But he had a really good run at the Wuhan Open, but probably apart from that, he didn't really have a good run in either one of those tournaments. And a decent run in the Masters of reaching the quarterfinal stage, but of course had a horrible performance in that quarterfinal against Weezer and had a 6-0 loss next to his name. For now, Barry's about to break off, and is he going to leave a chance away to Jebchaya? The answer is no, he won't. And even if he has done so, Jebchaya was taking that red carefully with the side spin on the cue ball to make sure he gets the white to be headed towards the top end of the table. So then what's he going to be here? Is he going to have a chance to be sending the cue ball down the table from the right-hand side this time around? Because that will inevitably separate those reds to be far enough from each other. Now, seems to be a little bit pacey on the cue ball, but with him touching 2 cushions, first the right side and then the ball cushion as well, it seems like he managed to get the clean contact in behind the green. And Jebchaya, though, doesn't seem like he's going to be too bothered about it. So whether it's going to be a little bit of a swerve or side spin to be added and try and catch the cue ball with the shot of the backspin. But you could see there straight away, as soon as he hit that cue ball, you realise that something was off there. And he certainly has managed to hit 2 red flags there, leaving that cue ball to be way lower than the baulk line, but also leaving the red to be right next to the left corner of the pocket. So it seems like it is going to come down to Hawkins trying to take the red into the left part of the table and make sure that white is going to be cannoning across to the top end of it. And I don't know what he was playing for there. I mean, that was a really weird shot from Hawkins. He got that red in, but I mean, was it just going to be one of those shots that you take a point and you just move on to the next battle of a safety? Because yeah, it seems to be settling for that, because he was never going to be positioned for the black or the pink. So clearly, it was always going to be down to either trying to go for an aggressive shot and force that cue ball to go past those reds, or just settle for a single point and a safety shot of the yellow to be played. Seems to have chosen option number 2. And now, is he going to be another chance, though, that Jebchaya is going to leave for him? It seems like the answer is going to be positive again. This time around, he got a good contact on the cue ball, but it seems like he hasn't actually got a good contact on the reds. Way too close to the right corner for his liking. And same, the story is going to be very similar here, because Barry hasn't got a clear-cut chance to be taking this red with a clear positioning shot on the colour. But, wow, he got that one horribly wrong. Way too thin on that red, and now once again, it is going to be Jebchaya coming back to the table here and looking to try and win a safety battle, because the red that Barry Hawkins had seen to cannon to the top end of the table is not going to be playable. So it's just going to be a safety or a potential double there to be played from Jebchaya. He decides to go for a safe option, plants that cue ball nicely for the ball cushion and exactly down the spine as well. It leaves one of those reds to be potentially taking, but with once again no clear-cut chance to be lined up for the colour, he would have thought that it's just going to be sent towards the top end of the table again, and the turn is going to go back to Un-Nooh here. Although it's a bit of a negative and a passive shot there that Barry has played, and he needs to be very aware that sometimes it wouldn't work out against the likes of Barry Hawkins there. Oh, Un-Nooh, I should say. Because if he's going to be taking this red, which he does have available, into the right middle, I mean, it depends on how much of the pink he actually see into the left middle as well. But the answer seems like it's not going to be worth the risk anyway. And just a straightforward safety shot, getting that cue ball to be bouncing away from the ball cushion and onto the left side. And probably playing the same red there with Barry Hawkins now. And try and take it with a careful cross double. And Barry's going to now get himself lined up for the right-hand side of the table. So, similar start to the one that we've seen in frames number 2 and 3 in the first session yesterday, where, you know, a couple of those mistakes, but at the same time, a couple of really good shots there played by the players. And for now, it's going to be all down to mistakes from Barry. Once again, getting that cue ball to be cannoning straight into the blue. And despite getting one of those reds to be quite close to the right side cushion, it's not going to be close enough, but Chipchai is not going to be able to take that red away either. So he's going to be a turn back to Barry Hawkins straight away, leaving out a potential opportunity here to be taking the same red towards the left corner. But Barry seems like he's learned a lesson, at least for a couple of shots there, and just going to have to settle for seeing that cue ball to be so close to the lower end of the table and making sure that cue ball goes all the way. And well, wants to get past the brown, hasn't managed to do so, but he's still got a good contact, to be fair, in relation to the position of those reds. And the cue ball is going to be positioned safe here. So then what's it going to be here for Chipchaya? Is he going to try and take another red towards the left corner whilst playing that shot along the side cushion? I mean, that would work, but at the same time, you probably have to be wary of the factor of, if it doesn't work out, then that red could stay over the pocket. And it could also be a huge danger in favour of Barry Hawkins, because once again, if you take that red in the wrong fashion, then you may leave a chance away. But even if you take it right, you may not get yourself lined up with a beauty of a chance there. And the Chipchaya has gone for a really risky move there. A thinker on the left side and getting that cue ball to be basically in the mix of those reds, finding that space for it to be guided nicely to the top end of the table, but nearly getting that cue ball to drop onto the green pocket as well, which would have not changed the situation massively, but it would have still given a little bit of momentum away to Barry Hawkins. They're trying to take all the momentum that he needed in the single plan shot that he's had, and trying to take that one towards the left corner. Didn't work out. And once again, with the way that those reds are positioned, it seems like he's not going to have to pay any price here either. Chipchaya looking at the reds, potentially about to be taken into the left part of the table here. But is he going to be playing that one with a cross double? The cue ball seems to be close towards the yellow pocket, and he seems to be very close indeed. And once again, just like it was with the green pocket previously, it's just going to stay out on the table. And the cross double that Hawkins is taking here, it's not quite going to be as easy as the previous one. So needs to catch this one right, and he has done so. Making sure that neither one of those reds is going to go too close to the left corner. And then Chipchaya is going to be the one coming back to the table here. Making sure that he has got those reds in close proximity next to him. And you can see Zhao Xington, Sean Murphy, Judd Trump are all going to be waiting there. Weezer is still yet to play his match and complete his performance against Chris Wakelin. As you have got this idea with the banners to be suggesting on the current status of a player in relation to the tournament, whether they have managed to reach the final stage, or they have been eliminated, or their match hasn't even started just yet. The likes of Selby, Xington, Murphy and Robertson are all going to be very much on the white zone because they haven't had any of those matches to get started. Now, this does look like a brilliant line there from Hawkins. And is he going to find the back of the green? Yes, he will. Once again, a beautiful shot there from Barry. The problem is it has come at a place where you've got so many of those reds to try and aim at. And in the end, that makes a huge target there for Chipchaya. And look at that. 5 seconds to think about it, 5 seconds to execute, and all of a sudden, a really difficult snooker has been solved in no time at all there from Chipchaya's point of view. So then what's it going to be? Another shot to be taking those reds from the left onto the right side cushion and for it to finish right in the middle of the table. And yeah, just making sure that it has got a chance of taking those reds towards the right corner. It's going to be very interesting to see the way that, well, at least one of those players will have to blink first. For now, it does seem like it is going to be Un-Nooh that has got a little bit of the advantage in terms of him getting that cue ball to be working perfectly fine for him. Right now, it hasn't worked out, and he had to be taking that one slightly down than the bulk line of the table. And once again, another red is about to be taken into the mid pack of those reds. So then the cue ball is going to have to try and get sticking to the bulk cushion there. And even though he hasn't, once again, Un-Nooh in there just being very eager to try and play this shot, and, well, way too eager on this occasion. And this is a horrible pace judgment that he had. The cue ball has bounced away like a leapfrog there. Managed to come all the way to bounce off the ball cushion as well. And now going to be finishing underneath the blue ball line. So it's now a rest shot for Barry to be taking this red. And make sure that cue ball is going to be working fine for him as well. And he seems to have done that. Lined up for the pink now. Into the left middle. And a couple of those reds to try and go with that pink as well. This is going to be a really good opportunity now for Barry to try and take it as a 6-4 of a lead. And yeah, making sure that he has got an opportunity to be playing those 4 more reds, I would say. And then at that point, the pink is going to come into play. The black may still potentially be respotted. For now, we have to go onto the blue ball spot. With all the colours apart from the pink right now being out of position significantly. So once again, just checking the line that he has got himself positioned with on this red. And carefully taking that one. I'll say carefully. I mean, he needed to barge his way through this shot, but didn't really manage to avoid the contact on the other red. And now, it's a minor thing there, but Hawkins needs to be making sure that he fixes this minor thing straight away. And misses that front jaw nicely. So then still getting the red and the pink sequence to be working for him just fine for now. And yeah, just having one more look to see what's happening with those reds at the left corner of the table. They shouldn't be in the way of each other. And you can see that they clearly won't be on the better camera angle. So for now, it's not really going to be any point for trying to get that black into the open play. Work with the pink. Make sure that you get yourself lined up with those shots to be as straightforward as you can. About to take the pink away into the right middle once again there. And I mean, once again, just hugging that front jaw with a minor contact this time around. And he's going to have the angle to try and get that cue ball to be lined up for the black here, though. So what's it going to be right now? I feel like he has got a little bit of an opportunity next to his name of trying to take that black away into the right part of the table. Has he done that well enough? Well, it seems like he's certainly going to have that cue ball positioned for the black on purpose with the top side there. In terms of he's going to have a great chance to be sending the cue ball into those 2 reds. But the counterpoint to that is going to have to be the factor of he could have taken those reds anyway without needing to try and split them up right now. And, ooh, I mean, he's gone for a bit of a risky shot there of trying to just hammer those reds all around the table. Seems to have done that pretty well, but in relation to being lined up on one of those reds, it seems like he could have been better there for Barry. And yeah, he's going to have a red to be positioned here into the left corner. So just carefully making sure that he gets himself positioned with a nice little situation there. So then what's it going to be? Is it a red to be taken into the left corner? Or is it going to be just a safety shot to be played with that cue ball to be sent towards the black ball cushion again? And the answer is the latter. So 30 points there scored by Barry, which normally wouldn't be the worst result in the world. And getting 29 points to be scored at a single visit to the table certainly doesn't look like a bad record at all. But at the same time, you probably have to say he could have achieved a frame win with that visit to the table had he managed to get himself lined up for the red that he was playing for at the end after having such a massive split to those reds. And yeah, it's now just going to be a bit of a rolling backwards and forwards there by the players. Of course, it's going to be working nicely for Chipchai here because every single shot like that brings him closer to potential re-rack, which is going to be against the intentions of Barry Hawkins here, but having that lead of 30 points to 0. So then Chipchai just having a look to see what is going to be the best out of those 3 reds for him to be taking on here. And just a little bit of a bounce towards one of those reds and send the one closer to the right middle. Well, I'll tell you what, you may have sent this one too close to the right middle here. And as much as you're always going to have a risk of leaving a red over the right corner, this one is certainly going to be a chance away to Barry Hawkins. And yeah, he shouldn't be missing from here. Whatever he does and however well he's playing, this one should be taken nicely, and he will do. That certainly works for him quite well. So just getting himself to be positioned on the brown here. A little bit of backspin on the cue ball. And to make sure that white is going to be heading all the way across and down the lower side of it. That leaves him with 35 points as the advantage and still having that black to be available into the left corner. As long as he manages to take those reds away from the right-hand side of the table, because right now they're going to be blocking the potential way for that cube to be positioned. And therefore, at the same time, it's going to be a problem for Barry to be playing the black altogether. Another problem there that he created for himself is the factor of getting a lucky kiss on the blue. Now getting the position on the blue to be sorted into the yellow pocket. And actually probably being in favour of Barry right now. Getting himself the chance to take that red away from the right corner, which previously was put in there by Un-Nooh, trying to either force the re-rack or get himself a good opportunity to be taking this frame to go his way. Whatever it was, certainly hasn't worked out for now, and Barry's about to extend his lead to 42 points with 83 at the table at that point. So, yeah, the biggest choice here for Barry is probably going to have to be the decision for him to make on the black and the pink situation. Does he want to try and win the frame with simply taking the pink every single time there? Or does he want to try and make sure that he's going to be getting that cue ball to be lined up into the black ball spot and get himself lined up with a good sequence of shots there to be taken. For now about to take another pink into the left middle and carefully make that pink to disappear. Now position himself for that red to be taken along the side cushion. Lines up for this red with that cue ball. So, I mean, he has managed to separate those reds away from the black. And just have to wait and see whether he's going to be able to get past the lower one of those reds. And then, if he does, then the issue of having those reds around it is no longer going to be the case. And it's not going to be relevant there for Barry, because he's about to take a 56 points of a lead and get himself lined up with a straightforward run there to having that 2-frame cushion re-established, with him being 1 frame closer to be setting that clash with Neil Robertson and getting himself through to the quarterfinal stage. In the meantime, it's going to be all down to taking this black carefully into the left corner. Make sure that cue ball is going to get past the contact point and get himself lined up for that red to be taken into the opposite side of the table here. So the red will take him 65 points clear, whilst only having 59 at the table. So it does seem like Barry is going to be able to find himself to get over the line. And he has done that, although he could have still tried to get himself a little bit nicer on the black. He did have a little cannon on the red on the way to this positional shot. And taking the black will put him 72 points clear. And clearly, with no intention of Chipchaya to try and come back to the table. For now, the black is indeed going to disappear. And it's going to be another break of 42 points there for Barry Hawkins. It seems to be the favourite number of the match so far for him. The points that he wins those frames with, 72 right now. As he takes that rate to make it 73 there. But also the breaks of 70 plus that he keeps making on when he's winning those frames. And this one, it certainly was the first one that he's able to win without conceding a single point away to Un-Nooh. I'm still looking for a potential century break, which of course doesn't seem like a likely thing to happen, especially with how far up the table the third red is going to be. And you'll have to be taking those 2 reds with the black, and then the last one can be taken with the pink. And the total clearance would allow that to be a break of 100 points exactly. So we'll have to wait and see if Barry's going to be able to achieve that milestone. And certainly, he's going to be probably the best break of the match there, when you take into consideration how difficult the position was at the start of a break, and how easy he managed to actually make it look there. So he had a break of 30 points to get this frame campaign started. Now he's about to hammer the black hole into the left part of the table, get himself lined up with a break of 66 points there. But still, this is going to be such a mighty shot. If he's going to be worried about a century break, he needs to be taking this red with the pink. And he's done that. I mean, he's taken the red away nicely into the green pocket whilst playing for the ping. And he might actually be lined up better on the black there, which will give him the angle to try and bounce that white for the yellow. But ultimately, will also give him the points that he's going to be looking for. The black is in. Now, where's that cue ball going to finish? Is he going to reach beyond the point of the yellow? Just about will at the end of it with the last gasp of it. Distance travelling. So, carefully making sure he gives the yellow a little bit of a nudge towards the left middle. And this is going to be certainly a great century there, performed by a fantastic player of Barry Hawkins as well. As another green disappears into its own pocket. Going to get himself lined up for the brown here, to be taken into the same part of the table, and about to get himself re-established with that 2-frame cushion, 113-0, and could still make it 131 here, with a break of 101 points at the end. It's going to be a remarkable century break, especially, as I say, after having that break of 30 points that he made right at the start of a match. And it didn't look like it was going to be possible for him to make a break of 70 points out of a position that he had available to him. In the end, he certainly wasn't a break of 70 points. It is now going to be 94 points, and the black to be taken into the left corner. A fantastic break that from Barry Hawkins, and he gets himself lined up with a 6-4 of a lead now after the opening 10 frames are finished. And he's now going to be Un-Nooh back to being 2 frames down here. Barry Hawkins leads by 6 frames to 4, and he's only now 4 frames away from making this one to go all the way there. And once again, Williams seems like he has got the edge on John Higgins no matter what happens in those type of matches. He's going to be having a lead of 2 frames to 0, and he's going to be the one at the table as well here, trailing by 15 points in frame number 3. So yeah, thank you very much for everyone tuning in. Feel free to hit the like on the stream and subscribe to the channel. This has been a little bit better there from Barry. You know, he had a really shaky start to the first frame, had a shaky start to the second one as well, but the century break was absolutely brilliant. And the way that he's actually managed to take that break all the way there and complete it comfortably whilst never looking back on it. Certainly, as I say, deserves loads of admiration for it. But right now, it is going to be all down to the response here. Once again, not for the first time I'm going to be saying that statement, but we need to see a response from Un-Nooh. He seems like he's allowed himself to be 2 frames down, despite having that 3-2 of a lead, losing 3 frames on the bounce. Does seem like an unforgivable mission here for him, as he now finds himself down to the last 9 frames, if the decider is to be played, but he could still be down to just the last 4 of those frames, if every single one of those 4 is going to be won by the man in the left corner of the screen, Barry Hawkins, waiting for the announcement by the referee. And then at that point, it is certainly going to be a chance for Barry to get himself lined up with a break-off shot. You know, it seemed like on the previous occasion, Un-Nooh was able to sort of get away with this one to an extent, because he left a long red away to Barry Hawkins. Didn't manage to take that one away. And now, of course, it is going to be a chance to try and do better than that. So, yeah, Barry, of course, scored only a single point in that particular attempt. But still, it was a fantastic red that he has managed to score. And now, it is going to be Un-Nooh's turn to try and break off to make sure that Barry Hawkins is not going to have a chance to put any one of those reds, no matter how brilliant they will be. And he hasn't quite managed to achieve that mission and task to be completed. Seems like the left corner is going to be available here for Barry. So make sure you take this one pretty carefully towards the... well, I mean, I say carefully in terms of the power, but you want to be hitting that cue ball with a little bit of force as well at the same time, because the black not being available, it makes this one a bit of a tricky draw there for him. And, well, I talk about a tricky draw. This is now going to be a tricky situation for Barry to try and find himself coming back to the table, because the reds have gone everywhere, I should say, at the table, because he's tried to force that one with loads of power. And, you know, he seemed to have played this one with the maximum power that he could have potentially put in that shot. In the end, the red hasn't even touched those jaws, and has gone all the way to be cannoning into the main pack of those reds. So then the chance is going to come the way of Un-Nooh here, and just like it was in the previous time, when Barry didn't have the black to be available, but at least he had the pink next to his name. This is going to be the story of Un-Nooh there, because he's going to have the pink to be lined up into the left corner, into the left and the right middle as well, and only the right corner the one which the pink is not going to be playable for right now, but he's about to fix the black situation as well. He's got one of those reds to be right next to the most expensive of those colours, and he's about to take it nicely into the left corner. So the referee is going to be heading to be in behind of Un-Nooh, but you know, blink and you miss it. It is now going to be heading all the way for the left corner to get the black away from the pocket. Now the position seems like exactly the one that has allowed Un-Nooh to be winning his second frame away with a century break of 103 points. Still the highest break made so far in the match, and of course the 101 points of Barry Hawkins is going to be a lot more credible though, because the position that Un-Nooh had, even though it was a century break, which is always a moment of brilliance, but it was about as straightforward as a century can get for you. All of the reds, all the colours were situated perfectly well for him, and the factor of him having the ability to go for 14 reds, 13 blacks and 1 pink probably says it all there. 103 points is going to be the exact number of 14 reds, 13 blacks and 1 pink, and he wasn't able to take that red into the right corner to get himself lined up with a 139 of a clearance. So something that he can try and focus on later on in this break here though, because for now still going for a 145, and now looking for another black about to be taken here into the right corner. Make sure he puts the Q power through that white, and gets himself lined up for one of those reds to be right underneath the blue ball line. So if he's going to have a chance to try and hold that cue ball exactly where it is right now, get himself on the wrong side of the blue, but it's still going to be worthy of an attempt there for him, because even though he's managed to score 46 points, he's still going to have at least 3 more reds available to him. The one that he's about to take, 2 more at the lower ends on the left hand side of the table, but also he's got one quite close to the green pocket as well, just underneath the bulk line. Seems to be taking loads of time on this red though, so whether it's going to be straight here or no, but I mean, that was a definition of a weirdest shot that I've seen this season. No wonder he was taking a lot of time on it. Wow, I need to put myself together first. Well, by the way, he certainly was straight. I can confirm that. And the fact that you can see 4 points next to Barry Hawkins, you probably guess what's happened, but I still can't believe it. He's played that cue ball all the way into the left middle, clearly trying to find the jewel of the middle pocket, but in the end, it's a horrible scratch there, and it could still be a chance gifted away to Barry Hawkins. I'll tell you what, Barry, make sure you take this chance away, because purely confidence-wise, I can only imagine how much of damage he can do to Un-Nooh here, and the answer is none, because that red, even with a ball in hand, wasn't able to be taken, and yeah, wasn't taken there really, just into the left corner, missed that one, played it with too much power, didn't get the perfect control on the black anyway. And now, Un-Nooh is about to take the same red away into the right middle nicely. Gets himself positioned for the green now. And get the lower end of the cue ball. So just carefully bounce the white off the right jaw of the middle pocket. But once again there, it seemed like such an easy shot for him to play. He had one of the lower reds to be lined up for the black ball cushion. In the end, he's not going to be anywhere near it because of touching the jaw of the middle pocket. Having to play that red into the green pocket, which still, I mean, it could have been difficult as it was had the cue ball been positioned too close to the right side cushion, but in the end, he's going to have to be bridging over those reds as well, and now he's going to miss that red. No surprise there. 46 points is the lead, and the same red should be possible there for Barry Hawkins to be taken into the left middle. So what's it going to be here then? He's going to have the blue to be out of position. He still has got those 4 reds next to the pink to be pretty much available to him. And for now, just take this red away. Make sure you realise, though, that he's not going to have the blue on his spot. And he's going to have to try and choose from those 3 ball colours. I feel like he can lose loads of those points, to be fair, especially at the start of this break, because he's still got 75 points at the lower end of the table, as he's about to take the first one here. Get himself lined up for either yellow or brown here to be lined up with. I feel like he's not really going to be up for taking the green, although, I mean, technically it does leave him nicely onto the right side rail, so I might have to actually change my mind and say that he's not going to be taking the yellow on, and he's certainly taking that green on perfectly well. Brilliant shot there, well played by Barry, and now he's certainly managed to put himself right back in the mix here for the frame win. And is he going to be able to take this red away into the right corner? We'll have to wait and see on this one, because it looks like it is now going to be the third frame of the second session, but ultimately it's going to be the first time that Barry could find himself having a 3 frame of a cushion. Despite losing the first frame of the session, he was able to overcome that feeling and win the frame number 10 straight away. Now he puts himself 34 points behind with 67 at the table, and having so many of those opportunities to try and close that gap down. In relation to those reds, the situation is probably going to be about as straightforward as it can be. So the only place where it can potentially go wrong is probably going to be the brown to blue. Not even sure that he will need the transition from the blue onto the pink there, with the blue being closer to the left side cushion, but still close enough to the pocket for that one to be playable without needing to have a little bit of a touch towards the blue. And Hawkins, meanwhile, making sure that he has got those 4 reds covered. That will lead him nicely to be, if not ahead, then level on points with Shipshire, which will basically leave that blue as a potential frame ball for a chance of a 7-4 of a lead. That is going to be very much his for the taking at that stage. For now, another carefully taken shot on the pink here. And yeah, he needs to realise that that cue ball is going to be sent all the way across the right side of the table. He's going to get himself positioned for the red anyway, but you will get him into a little bit of an issue in relation to trying to play for the lowest of those 2 reds, because ideally the red that he's about to take now into the left corner would have been the one for you to leave away there. But also another thing, I am a little bit surprised by how Hawkins is approaching this break. He hasn't even tried to take that blue away from the left corner of the table when he has got the opportunity to be playing for those reds constantly well. Is he going to try and take it as a chance now? Because he is going to have the cue ball to be lined up basically alongside the red. So a little bit of topspin, try and play through this shot, get himself lined up for the blue to be taken into the left corner at the same time. Ooh, he seems to have played for the black and doesn't want to be straight on this one. Last thing that he wants to have right now is the straight positioning on the black wall. Even worse, if he's going to have a chance to be sending that cue ball up the table and not down. Well, it seems like he's managed to get the position on the reds, but still the same rule about not being straight on it is going to apply here to Hawkins. Is he going to have a chance to be playing this cue ball through this red? Make sure he gets that white to be heading up the table and doesn't want to be slowed down. Wants to slow down now, and he won't be doing that. Hawkins is going to be very frustrated with the way that this shot has gone against him. 48 points now. 44 scored on the current break, and well, it was always going to be a very silly mistake from Cheshire that would have cost him dearly. Now, it could still cost him dearly, but it looks like he is going to be coming back to the table very shortly indeed. And yeah, the whole debate now for Hawkins is probably going to be down to, does he need the blue and the pink? The answer is, unless Cheshire is going to be giving a couple of foul points away, he does need the pink as well. Because taking the bold colours of the blue will get him 12 points ahead with 13 at the table. So yeah, it's only the right thing that he's done there, trying to get the blue to be in the open play. So now we have got 5 colours to be on their spots, the blue to be quite close to being in the open play as well. And the break of 44 points is going to be the end of Barry Hawkins for now. So what's it going to be from Cheshire Un-Nooh's point of view then? He's got the left side cushion to try and find the contact with the yellow. Oh my god, he hasn't actually fluked this one in. He has You are never gonna see a better fluke than this. You know the escape of Luca Brissell in the Whole Nation series? That one was just about as close to that one as you can get. You cannot put into words. I'm going to try to, if Chipchai is going to be able to make a clearance out of this, but this is going to be beyond ridiculous. He only needs the brown and the blue, and he should get himself lined up with a frame win, but wow. Barry Hawkins, I mean, you could say he only has himself to blame for running himself out of position, but that was luck beyond belief. Now he got the blue in, I can start. And you know, when you've got 3 minutes in between those frames, this is going to be the time that it will probably take me to describe the situation well enough. And yeah, you can see that even after the end of a frame, Chipchai apologises for what has happened. And what has actually happened is that Hawkins managed to place the cue ball pretty well down the spine in lower than the black, lower than the pink. The yellow is going to be on its usual spot, perfectly lined up. So what Chipchai does, he tries to take that one from the left-hand side of the table. So straightforward escape, try and catch that one full ball and carrying the yellow away. And what he does do in the end is he catches the thinnest of the edges of that yellow and somehow from the left side, by the way, from the left side cushion, he manages to bounce that cue ball away, cannon into the yellow from the right side now, and carefully cut the yellow into its own pocket as if he was already in the pocket there. Incredible shot, incredible slice of luck. And now it is going to be Chipchai that leaves himself still back in the hunt there, and very much back in the equation for the quarterfinal spot. And it's now going to be a race first to 5 for him, and still it does remain to be a race to 4 there for Barry Hawkins. By the way, thank you for everyone that has been tuning in so far to the stream. Feel free to like on the stream and subscribe to the channel. We are going to have more matches to be coming on. It will depend on who's going to be playing in the quarterfinals, but I can certainly tell you that Zhao Xington is going to be making the channel, whether he's going to be up against Chris Swagden and have a potential repeat of the incredible match that they had at the World Grand Prix, or is he going to be against Weezer, the match that so far was one of the few semi-finals that he's managed to lose this season, up against Weezer in Nanjing at the International Championship. But for now, this match is about to have the 4th frame, which will take a potential sequence away of Barry Hawkins there, because if Chipchai is able to turn that fluke into something more than just fuel for him, it's going to be a real threat to try and take that frame away from Barry. As it is now going to be Hawkins that breaks off, and it's a bit of a bad one. That right-hand side is once again going to be available for Chipchai to be taking. And the black should be possible into the left corner as well. So this is going to be a great chance to finally strike there with a long-range shot. He's certainly managed to get it. Now, how's the cue ball going to be? Is he going to be positioned for the black? He just about will, you know. Brilliant shot that from Chipchai Un-Nooh. And Barry is going to be absolutely fuming, shocked and devastated with how he was one shot away, basically, of being 7-4 up on Chipchai. And now he's about to have his opponent to see in there with a chance of taking another frame from Barry Hawkins and making it 6-all draw after the opening 12 frames. Now then, 8 points there that he scores, having another red available to be taken into the left part of the table and carefully guiding that cue ball to be bouncing off the left side jaw, off the left side cushion I should say, and well, way too far away from the black though, and way too close to the side cushion. So this is still going to be a very difficult black for him to be taking on here into the right corner. A little bit surprised that he decided to not to be playing for the blue, and look at that. Hammers the black home, manages to get himself lined up for another red. Chipchai is now clearly going to be here to play because he's going to be up for it. He was always going to be up for a challenge, especially if Barry managed to deliver a performance like that in the previous session. But now he just needs to try and steady the ship, and he hasn't done that straight away after such a brilliant black that he's taken into the right corner whilst having that cue ball to be placed perfectly on the left side cushion. In the end, he goes up and misses the red after that black and leaves out a chance away for Barry Hawkins here. Barry desperately needs to step up and at least get himself to have a mini session worth of 2 frames each there, and keep that 2-frame advantage from 5-3 to 7-5 of the scoreline. Still get himself to be the real deal in terms of him having the advantage when it comes to the end point of the match. He needs to be taking this red with a rest shot very nicely though. And is he going to stay away from the pocket? It will. Well, Barry can't believe that one. He can't believe that red is going to stay out. Well, he's certainly going to be disappointed with the way that he wasn't able to take that chance away. And now it's going to be Chipchaya to try and take that red from the cushion. Needs a good bounce on the cue ball, and he has just about got this one in, but he should be able to have the shot on the blue lines up. And then the red that he's missed previously into the left corner is going to be waiting for him quite close to the left corner of the table as well. So then just make sure that he misses that front jaw of the right corner. He's managed to do that. Doesn't want to be straight on this red though. And he seems like he's just about going to have enough of the angle to try and force that cue ball to be taken towards the blue. But, well, whatever it was, it clearly wasn't kind enough to him, because that red is going to bounce away from the corner. And once again, even though it was a chance for Chipchaya, only able to score 6 points out of that chance. And leaves the same red away for Barry Hawkins. If you can see enough of that one, you can always try and take it into the left corner. And if the answer is no, then he's going to be forced to try and take that red towards the right-hand side of the table. Didn't want that cue ball to be so close to the right jaws and the left side jaws of the table there. In the end, managed to get the cue ball to be in a relatively safe area as well. Now Chipchaya is about to come back to the table. Get himself lined up with a red to be taken towards the right side cushion. Now then, huge bounce with the cue ball. And where's he going to finish? He's going to finish with a little bit of a bounce off the green. And in the end, it's another long red available here for Barry Hawkins. So what's it going to be then? He doesn't want this one to be straight though, because that will leave the necessity for the backspin. Right now, it seems like he's playing this one with topspin, which allows him to try and take that cue ball and get it lined up for the blue. That's exactly what he's played, and he seems to have got this one absolutely spot on. Brilliant shot there from Hawkins, but now this is where the frame is going to be won or lost here, because this shot from the blue needs to buy him a couple more of those reds. He's got the perfect setup. Is he going to have the perfect execution as well? No, he won't, because he's going to have a red that will come straight into the right corner of the table. And, well, alongside the blue, it is now going to be a foul of 5 points to be given away in favour of the player from Thailand. Now it's not going to be him that comes back to the table and has a little bit of an inspection with what does he have available ahead of himself here, because you know, the red that Hawkins was able to take into the right corner was probably the best option there for either one of the two players to try and get themselves lined up with a chance. But now, Chipchaya is going to be thankful that he returns to the table straight away there. And is he going to be looking for a potential plant to be taken into the left corner? Because if that is the case, certainly going to have loads of distance in between those two reds, and needs to be taking those very carefully towards the left-hand side of the table. And what's he going to be? Oh, he's missed that one by an absolute mile there. So is he going to leave anything away? It seems like he will. Hawkins would have been hoping for something easier though. And it depends on which one of those two reds can he actually see on the left-hand side of the table. Is he going to have a chance to be taking the one close to the side cushion? Because I feel like that one allows that cue ball to be bouncing off the left side and getting close towards the black. And once again, if you get yourself in a position here, I know that neither of them have been playing well, but it's still going to be a great opportunity for either one of the two to get themselves lined up with a frame winning chance. Although we have said that before on a couple of those occasions, and once again, Hawkins just unable to find himself with a good first shot. And yeah, despite it looked like it was going to be a straightforward red for him to be taking, in the end, it hasn't really worked out to be that way. And Chipchaya now is going to be forced to have an awkward shot of his own, trying to take this red carefully into the left corner. What's he going to have to do here? Is he going to be just down to taking another red towards the left-hand side of the table? That's what he's trying to do. It hasn't worked out. So, yeah, it seems like we've already thrown all the caution out of the equation. And it's just going to be all down to who's going to try and win it all on the battlefield. For now, it seems like no one is. And, yeah, just keep shooting themselves in the foot there. Is it going to be a Barry's chance? It will be. And is he going to have a chance to be lined up on the colour? No, he won't. As much as he had an easy red over the corner pocket, still not quite able to get himself lined up for either blue or pink. And will have to settle for the green right now. And once again, anything is missable. He needs to get a little bit of rhythm going. But also, it's not even going to be down to potting the green. It's going to be potting the green and also getting that cubel to be running down the table towards that concentration of reds to be still lined up at the lower end of the table here. Getting closer to who's going to shine in this match, yeah. But to be fair, that probably was the case ever since the match has started. Really disappointing how neither one of the players was able to step up their game massively. And because if either one would have been able to do at least up their level by 50% on what we've been seeing, then this could have been easily a 10-3, 10-4 of a win, 10-5 already, but in the end it's now going to be 6-5 in favour of Barry, which probably for him is going to be the best thing that you can imagine. The factor of you having such a good opportunity to be taking those ones, even though you're not really playing well, and keeping Chipchaya quiet ever since the first frame that he was leading, and the fifth frame was the last one where we've seen Chipchaya to be ahead of Barry Hawkins. Ever since the frame number 6, it was always going to be Barry in the lead, although now he got himself to a minor frame advantage. And, well, seems to have caught this one horribly wrong there, Chipchaya. And is he going to be still able to bring that cubel up the table just about far enough? Because the thing about it now, if you feel like you've left an easy chance for your opponent, you may have done that on their good day. Now, anything is missable. And Hawkins is still going to be down to those 2 points, where so far in the match has actually been a bit of an indication that those are the exact frames that he loses. So then he's got a red lined up into the right part of the table here. He needs loads of backspin to be added on the cubel as well. Is he going to be able to cue this one well? No, he won't. Is he going to have a fluke of himself? No, he won't. So he could have fluked 2 reds into the green pocket and to the left middle. He was playing one of those reds to be taken into the right part of the table, but now this should be a great opportunity now for Chipchaya to finally make it back to 6-all here. It was 3 frames each after the opening 6 frames, and it does seem like we are seeing a bit of a different story here from Chipchaya. And he's able to get himself lined up with the blue, about to be taken into the left middle. Make sure that cubel is going to keep running towards the lower side of the table here. And yeah, just get himself lined up carefully for the red to be taken into the left corner or the left middle. The choice is his. Yeah, I felt like I would have gone for the shot into the left middle anyway, because, as I said before, it's going to be relevant to Chipchaya as well. Anything is missable, and you want to make sure that the start of your journey at the snooker table is going to be as straightforward as it could possibly be, because we're about to potentially see this match to enter the last 7 frames there and make it from the first to 10 race down to the Home Nation Series format, in terms of you're only going to be able to win 4 frames more, and then you are going to be through to the quarterfinal. The question is that going to be the case? Or is Chipchaya going to have another stumble on his way towards winning the 6th frame? And if that is to be the case, then what's going to happen in frame number 13? Of course, we'll have the intermission very much after this potential ending to the frame here from Chipchaya. Going to be very interesting to see the way that he's managed to come back from the second session and get himself to a good start in the 9th frame, win that frame pretty comfortably, and now get himself lined up with a break of 18 points to try and finally make it all the way back to being level in terms of frames won in relation to Barry Hawkins. He's played another huge shot with backspin, and it seems to have worked out perfectly well for him. Yeah, Hawkins is going to be disappointed, because you can think about the almighty yellow that somehow was fluked into its own pocket there by Chipchaya, and at the same time, you know, when he had the split from the blue, was able to take the blue away, was able to split up the reds really nicely, but in the end it proved to be too nice of a split, and one of those reds has followed the path of the blue, disappeared into the pocket, and the rest is history. Certainly is going to be now the frame for the taking of Un-Nooh, 58 points ahead, 51 at the table. The black is about to disappear as well, which makes it 6 frames each after the opening 12 frames. And it is now going to be all down to who's going to be able to find the rhythm in the upcoming couple of frames there. Certainly 6-6 now. And once again, as I say, whenever Hawkins seems to lose those frames, he always seems to lose them by a huge points difference. And he was able to take 2 of those reds previously at the frame. Chai now seems to stumble on the break of 48 points. He needs to try and find a double into the right corner. He's not going to be able to do that. And now it is going to be total points scored of 550 for Un-Nooh. In the end, 579. He's not really going to do a lot of justice for Barry Hawkins either, because it leaves Chipchaya being back level with 6 frames each after the opening 12 frames have been played. 4 frames down into the second session. Could still potentially be 4 more frames in if one of the players will be able to win the match by 10 frames to 6. Could also be going all the way and 7 more frames needed to determine on who's going to be the winner. Is it going to be Un-Nooh's story to be written, or is it going to be Barry Hawkins to try and step up and take his game to a whole new level? By the way, as we have got a little bit of a pause in the game, I am going to keep an eye on the way that the class of 92 are heading, but at the same time, a little bit of analysis on how the second session started. Super disappointing from Hawkins' point of view. He should have been 7-4. He could have been 8-4 at the end of it. Now, he finds himself with it being 6 frames each there, and you can't really say he's done loads wrong there, especially in that previous frame. The frame number 11 was the definition of sometimes not everything is going to be down to you there. Because even though, yes, he could say he could have gone without that little stumble of going for the shots of the pink or the black, where he was asking the cue ball not to be running so far down there. But in the end, he's still got a snooker lined up. It's still a difficult one because of how far away the cue ball is from the yellow and how far away the yellow is going to be from the side cushions. As Higgins right now is on the break. 35 points, placed 23 in his favour. Has got 6 of those reds. All should be available. And he's about to probably take that cue ball towards the ball colours simply because of the angle. Trying to take the pace away from the cue ball and settle for the blue right now. But hard to call a winner here. Yeah, it is. And so far it is going to be relevant to both of those matches. Chipchaya is really a specialist of desperate comeback. Well, if you've seen the way that he's managed to do that in frame number 11... I'm pretty sure Barry will disagree with you on that one. To me, that was certainly the most outrageous fluke of the season, because he was the one that won him the frame, basically. And he was able to clear up from that point onwards on that yellow, as Higgins extends his lead to 18 points and places another red into the right corner and wants that cue ball to slow down before it's going to reach the blue, about to be taken into the right corner. But yeah, from the scoreline point of view, Chipchaya's done really well. He found himself 5-3 behind. He found himself sort of 6-4 behind. And now he manages to bring that match back to 6 frames each there. And still all to play for in the remaining 7 frames as a maximum. And it could still be down to those 4 more frames for him to try and find at the end. It seems like, and I'm only going to say seems like for now, the pockets are a little bit stricter though than what we've seen in the World Grand Prix, because those shots along the side cushion doesn't seem like they're going to be the ones favouring the players. We've seen a couple of those instances from Weezer where he had that shot against Chris Wakelin, where to me he got the side cushion way too quickly, but still had that red to drop in. But that was probably the only questionable situation that I've seen so far. And once again, Higgins now extends his lead to 32 points. And he's now going to be down to the last 3 shots to make sure he's going to be able to overturn that early 2-0 of a deficit back to 2 frames each. And now just carefully taking that red nicely into the right corner. Oh, he's played a bad shot there though. He needs to realise he needs the black and one more colour, one more red after that one. He knows that. And the problem is he's going to be lined up for the black just about fine. But he's going to be forcing that cue ball to go to the top end of the table. And it's not where the reds are going to be. So, yeah, it does look like it's going to be all down to taking those blacks into the right corner. So just carefully manage your way through that cue ball. Seems to have done enough there to still have a chance. So 40 points ahead there with Higgins. 43 remaining. What's he going to be in relation to this red? Can he try and cut this one into the left corner? Seems like he's going to be able to do so. But only time will tell. Of course, there's not going to be any reason for him to be playing for the black right now. And just make sure that cue ball is going to be heading as far away from the two of those reds. If he misses it, potentially one of them to be left in the play. And in the end, takes the red away nicely. And yeah, he should have a snooker lined up in behind the yellow. And so what's it going to be then? I'm not too sure on what it was there, but Williams, I'm pretty sure there was a little bit of an interaction there between Williams and Higgins, and probably John wasn't asking there because he was about to play that cue ball to be in behind the yellow, and in the end Mark was clearly happy to concede the frame from that point. No reason for him to be looking for two snookers after being snookered himself on the yellow and only having one red to be in the open play. So then 2 frames each in relation to John Higgins and Mark Williams in their first 4 frames of their encounter, and 3-1 of a lead for Un-Nooh in the second session so far, because now he's going to get himself a very quick start here in relation to Barry Hawkins. And despite losing out on the second frame where it looked like it was going to be a very costly loss for him, it hasn't really worked out to be that way, and he's managed to recover. And starting from that point onwards, he had some really good runs of the ball, but at that point onwards, you're always going to rely on a little bit of luck and a little bit of good fortune. That's exactly what he's had in the previous couple of frames, and now finds himself being 6 frames each there. So let's go back to what is actually happening in those 4 frames, and then we're going to give you a little bit of a preview on what I feel like is going to happen in the remaining 7 frames there, or potential for more frames to be seen there. So very quickly, first frame starts a little bit shaky there. Both players get the chances in every single one of those frames, including the first. Chupchai is the one to be finally taking his opportunities away. Takes it nicely, and now he's going to have a chance to try and make it a break of 70 plus. I feel like he's made that one 48 or something like that. In the end, that was enough. He takes that one, and he takes a frame away from Barry Hawkins. So that leaves it with 5 frames to 4, and Hawkins realizes he needs to respond in the 10th frame, and he does respond. He does respond pretty well. There wasn't a frame without a couple of mistakes from Un-Nooh's point of view as well, but at the same time, you have to give a shout out to Hawkins. Had a really good run of the ball at that point because of him having that positional play to be working out perfectly well for him. Yes, he wasn't from the first attempt, but he was able to score some good points on the single break there, and that gifted him the 6-4 of a lead there. And then the really interesting stuff has started to come out because we've seen Chupchaya to be in a really dominant position at the start of that 11th frame. He's missed the pink or the black, whatever he was, in the right corner, and then that has left out a shot. No, it was the red. It was the blue, sorry, where he's played a very weird shot. I'm pretty sure he was the red. The reason why I'm thinking about the blue is that he was in the left middle, and he basically hammered that red into the left middle, and at the same time, the cue ball was following the red and has dropped all the way to be dropped into the left middle there. So in the end, it was always going to be down to a little bit of luck for Barry, but certainly it wasn't anything of luck that was what was about to follow there, because of his opportunity came. He didn't really manage to take that one so well, but still, he had a chance to get the snooker lines up for Chupchaya in behind the pink. He didn't manage to take that as an opportunity, and in the end, Chupchaya was going to have that massive slice of luck on the yellow. And not only did he manage to have a clean contact on that one, but he's managed to somehow cut that one really thin on the edge whilst playing that shot off the cushion, and managed to clear up from there and make it 11 points, 11 frames there, of 6 frames to 5 in favour of Barry Hawkins. And then the 12th frame was a little bit more of a similar to the one that we've seen in 11th. A couple of mistakes, a couple of problems there for either one of the players. But once again, it was Chipchaya that had the chance to step up from the shadow and find himself to be having a break of 42 points, which in the end, as we've seen, has proved to be enough there. And Barry didn't have the response to that particular effort. And that has left Chipchaya whilst having a 6-all of a draw there after the opening 12 frames. So this is getting exciting. I mean, it is. You would have liked to see the standard of play to be improved slightly as well. But from the drama point of view and from the neutral's perspective as well, there's nothing that you can be sort of hoping for anything better there. Because right now it's going to be all down to making sure you have got that chance to try and take it more than just 12 frames that we've seen there from the players. But now I've talked about what's happened. Let's have a little bit of a chat on what's going to be about to happen there, because is it going to be the exact repetition of the performance against Gary Wilson, against Jack Trump, against Ronnie O'Sullivan, where Chipchaya just seems to be able to find his groove there? And yes, he was in a different table. Yes, he was under different circumstances, but at the end of that, it was all down to having a bit of a performance from the players to deliver the great entertainment for the fans. Now Hawkins needs to have a performance like that of his own, where he probably didn't have a performance like that since or before the Welsh Open this season. He had a couple of good runs, but neither of them have been perfectly well executed, as well as what we've seen at the World Open final there from Chipchaya. So he's going to be the one slightly under more pressure there, in my point of view, because it feels like, you know, he's going to be the one trying to make things happen there. But it looks like a different play here. Well, I don't know which one you mean, to be fair, because both of them look completely different from what we've seen at the Welsh and the World Open there. Because, of course, Barry wasn't playing at the World Open. He had an injury with the shoulder, which could have actually put him out for the World Championship as well at that point. In the end, he was able to compete. And it's fair to say that he hasn't brought his best game for now, but, you know, at least he's got a little bit of actual health and safety, well, health reason behind it. Now, what's it going to be from Chipchaya's point of view? There is a point that you can make that he still has got that title very much in his head, and we've seen that with Jack earlier this season. It does take a little bit of time for you to get that huge milestone in your career, and then you know, you're going to be able to be back there. Jack was the finalist against Barry Hawkins in the Welsh Open, and to be fair to him, he just landed that incredible Home Nations bonus, the biggest paycheck that probably would have received in his career, because it's obviously going to be slightly more than winning the Northern Ireland Open of 100,000 at that point against Jack Trump. He probably would have been better in terms of emotions, because it was a title and a trophy that he won, but purely from the money spot. Well, to be fair, he did get a trophy for it, which I still found a little bit ridiculous, the fact that we're giving out trophies on a Saturday. But at the end point, he clearly was no longer himself there when he was playing that match against Hawkins. And despite putting up a little bit of a fight in the second session, the damage was done in the first one. And it was always going to be Barry's trophy for the taking. So expected a little bit better from Chipchaya, and probably can put it down to the first match of being back ever since, what's it been now? It's been pretty much a month there since that triumph campaign of Barry Hawkins, because there was 2 weeks of Welsh until the World Open. Then there was the World Open itself, which was 1 week. And then from the World Open to now, for these tournaments to appear now, it basically has been 4 weeks that Barry Hawkins hasn't been playing professional snooker there. So you probably can put it down to just having a bit of a, well, learning curve there for him in terms of taking this match as a learning process. But you feel like even if he's going to be able to get through Chipchaya Un-Nooh, then Neil Robertson is not going to be a charity there and allow him to be getting back in the action at his expense, as we still wait for the final couple of minutes for the players to come back onto the arena. You feel like at this stage, prediction-wise, Barry needs to step up now. The experience should prevail here, but as we've seen with Chipchaya, when he was in the final of the World Open, the stage doesn't really get any better than that. unless he's going to be in, the World Championship finals or whatever. But he didn't really have any sort of pressure. Yes, he was playing well at that point, but the pressure certainly wasn't the word that you would describe him with. There wasn't a lot of sort of problems that he has experienced as well. Because now we have got a little bit of table maintenance to be, well, maybe not even table maintenance, but just checking the right corner, which, to be fair, has clearly been the pocket which both of the players have struggled the most so far this afternoon. And it's now going to be all down to Barry trying to respond and Chipchaya trying to, even if he's not going to be able to be the free-flowing version of himself that we have seen and we have witnessed at the World Open, then it's going to be all down to what actually can he try and do right now here. And then if that's going to be able to be taken to a whole new level, that's great. And you could still have a 10-6 win very much in the horizon. But if that's no longer going to be the case, then just settle for a comfortable win of 10 frames to 8, 10 frames to 7. But I'm pretty sure you'll settle for any win from here onwards. But you'll have to wait and see on how the first couple of those frames will go. Because usually the World Open story of the whole tournament there was the reaction that we always seem to have got from Un-Nooh. Whichever intermission it was, whichever match it was, apart from the one with Marco Fu, where he had a 4-0 lead and he lost now 2 frames after that one, he always seems to come back being a stronger man and a stronger player. As now we welcome the players back onto the arena. The 13th frame is about to start, and it is going to be Un-Nooh to be taking this one away. So let's see the way that this is going to go now. Trying to take that cue ball to go all the way towards the right-hand side of the table. And getting that cue ball to be bouncing off the left side as well. Seem to have played this one pretty well though. And Barry's going to have a little bit of thinking process to try and do here. So is he going to have a chance to be taking this red into the right corner? Seems like this match has so far been played in a really attacking fashion. But now, this is exactly what he wanted to try and avoid there at the start of the 13th frame. Having such a horrible double kiss and a rookie mistake there from Barry. Playing that cue ball way too straight, and in the end, the red on the bounce from the black ball cushion is going to get himself lined up right into the path of the white. And yeah, the same red is going to be possible there for Chipchaya. He's going to have another one of those options available though. He needs to try and get the black to be in the open play. He's done that. Ooh, has he done that now though? Of course, for him to be playing this cue ball into the black, he needs to be realizing that the cue ball needs to be position on the black right now, otherwise you'll have to find a safety shot for him to be playing with. Right now, just carefully take the black into the right corner. Make sure you get that cue ball to be bouncing away from the black ball cushion, and he seems to have been working really nicely there for him. So then 8 points as the advantage here for Un-Nooh. He's going to be doing a little bit of maintenance on his cue there with the chalk, but ultimately, is this now going to be the real cut chance for him to be taking the position to a whole new level? Remember, the black is still going to be respotted next to the red. So the most expensive of the colours is not going to be available for now. But is he going to try and make it available here? Ooh, I'll tell you what, this is going to be the perfect shot if it pays off. And he certainly has. He's done that twice there in 2 shots that Chipchaya has played. An absolute masterclass on how you should be playing those shots with the positional play. And, well, that's certainly going to get the black to be freed up from the red and allow him to be taking 3 more reds with the most expensive colour there. So just having a look towards the right-hand side of the table, how much of the visibility is he actually going to have next to his name if he is to try and get that cue ball to be getting around the black at the same time. Clearly didn't want to be testing his luck too much there and trying to be basically placing that cue ball to be alongside the black. And let's see if he's got enough of the room for a backspin shot. And if the answer is no, he's always going to have a chance to be getting that cue ball to be lined up for the red alongside it. And still having this white to be taking into the red. Make sure that the cue is about to be put through those reds. And, well, a bit of a weird shot there from Un-Nooh, because once again, it is going to be a red that he misses into the left corner. But now, it seems like he is going to find himself in a difficult position here. Because, remember, even though he was playing for a colour, because he caught a couple more of those reds to be in the way, It's now going to be a shot into the right middle available for Barry Hawkins, but Barry seems to be struggling for form quite badly there. Can he try and re-establish his form here? The answer is no, he can't. And it would not have been lined up for the colour anyway, but at least after missing that red into the right middle, because of him getting that cue ball position completely wrong, it doesn't seem like Chipchai is going to have anything available to himself either. So what's it going to be here? Is it going to be a chance to be taking this red onto the right middle with a double? Or is it going to be plan B very much in the execution there for Chipchaya? And there was no plan B. He's tried to take that as a double. And in the end, the same red that he's taken there, he's going to come to a relatively safe position there. So clearly played that one in a controlled fashion. And yeah, it's just going to be Barry Hawkins to be taking this red up the table once again and trying to plan that cue ball to be positioned perfectly onto the black ball cushion. So he's got that one red at the top end of the table as well, but you probably can't see enough of that one to be playing that red full in the face, so that you could try and get it closer to the right side rail and keeping that cue ball into a place where the red is going to be right now. So yeah, it's just having a little bit of a thinking process there, because you could always go for the shot of trying to hit that cushion first, bounce that cue ball onto the red, and just make sure you get a firm contact on that one. And well, seems like he's gone for an option B, and I'm not too sure that that was the right option for him to go for, because now it is going to be a potential long red available here for Un-Nooh. Sometimes those are the shots that he refuses, but at the same time, he's now got some sort of advantage of 24 points to try and stick to in terms of his approach for the remainder of the frame. And clearly, I'm going to be realistic about the chances of him making such a difficult long red into the left corner, whilst having that cue ball to bounce all over the place as well. So just carefully giving that red a nudge and making sure he's going to be heading down the table yet again. So Hawkins leaves himself with loads of room to try and cover, and also needs to be very careful in terms of the way that that cue ball wants to be sort of heading towards the green there. And he seems to have got away with that, Hawkins. I'm not too sure if the blue and the pink are going to be in the way of the cue ball. They seem to be doing that. And now this is going to make it a little bit difficult for Un-Nooh as well, because now he finds himself in a position where he can't afford to be leaving that red away, but at the same time, he can't really do anything to try and keep that cue ball at the top end of the table, so he needs to be travelling down. But what can he try and do with those of the remaining reds? He's got one long red potentially to be taken along the right side rail, but this is going to be far from ideal. Short selection for him. And he decides to just try roll that cue ball towards the main bunch of reds. Seems to have controlled the power pretty well here though. And Hawkins is about to just have a look at the red potentially available to him into the left middle. But also at the same time, it needs to be very wary of the factor of, you know, if he goes for anything now, the black is now available, the pink and the blue are going to be right next to each other. So there's not going to be any problems with the positioning of those reds or colours. And it's going to come down to purely the execution from Un-Nooh's point of view. And the same thing has to go for himself. Now he's going to have to try and fight for his chance. But on the chance, he's going to come. And he will come inevitably. And he's going to have to make sure that he takes it. For now, Barry's just going to be looking at this cue ball. Probably actually looking for that path to be sending the white to the top end of the table. It's a risky approach, but you can't really agree on a re-rack here. Well, he seems to have taken a very fine line there. And has it managed to pay off? I'm not even sure he needs to be worrying about that red too much, because even if he has managed to get that cover sorted, it's still going to be a red available at the left part of the table there for him. And Chipchaya takes it carefully into the left part. Needs to have the position on the black though. It seems to be close. And, well, it seems to be very close in the end. So, to be making sure that he can see and get through to this black, to be taken into the right corner. Because this is now going to be the shot that could be very much the frame winning opportunity. Just carefully take that black towards the right corner. Make sure he's going to bounce off the front jaw if you need to be using that one. But in the end, with very little power, just rolls that black in carefully. And the fact that he's gone onto the pink spot may actually be good news for him, because it gives him the chance to try and clear up the black ball spot away from those two reds, and then have the pink or the blue, depends on which one of those two, to be respotted onto the black ball spot. Once again, played this one just about fine enough there, with a margin to have on the brown as a setup. So just looking to study the position of the lower end of those reds. It seems still have to have loads of those available in terms of both being in the open play, but at the same time he's going to have relatively good amounts of the ones to be covered up by those reds. Not anymore, because he's tried to take that cue ball all the way into the main bunch of reds, and he's played that shot superbly well for him to be getting a shot, well, next to the red off a left corner. It seems the black now is going to be possible as well into the right corner from the pink spot. So it's now going to be all down to having a look there from Un-Nooh's point of view. Have a look where the pink spot is going to be. Have a look where the black spot is going to be as well. So he's clearly looking to try and go for the pink right now, but my personal feeling about this one is that unless he wants to have that pink to be heading for the black spot right now, which I probably wouldn't feel like he wants to do that, he needs to be heading for the blue or the brown here. And yes, it's going to make it a little bit more difficult for him to find the angle on the cue ball if he is to be taking the blue, or make the shot a little bit more difficult. But of course, it all depends on what can he actually see there with the situation in relation to the pink. And the answer seems like, ooh, I mean, that is awkward. And I'm surprised he's gone for that shot in the end, because he's basically placed that pink to be on top of the black. And you probably feel like neither one of those two are going to be possible, especially straightforward. In a straightforward fashion there into the right corner. You feel like the black is going to be underneath the pink, which may allow it to be heading for the right corner in the end. But for now, he's played a really nice shot to be getting himself through to the blue. Now try and give one more nudge towards the pink and the black. But once again, I mean, it seems like he's managed to do 70 or 80% of the job really easily. And then on the easy part of the work, he seems to stumble all the time there. Why on earth would you take that cue ball into the pink and the black with no power at all? Because unless he was going to try and get the cue ball to be stuck to them, he was always going to be sending that cue ball off the left-hand side or even the right-hand side of the table, and not have any of those reds available to him. He seems to have found the line to be taking one of those reds into the left corner, playing the shot pretty well, gets a little bit of a fortunate kiss, but in the end, the execution on the rest shot says that he deserved a little bit of a praise. And now 51 points is the advantage here for Un-Nooh. He finds himself ahead in total points scored as well here. 601 with the previous 13 frames now, including this one. So then, once again, just carefully checking the position of the pink about to be taken into the right part of the table. And of course, this would be the third frame on the bounce that he would win. 57 points clear, 83 points at the table. This has been a bit of a difficult journey for him so far, but it's probably about to get a lot more straightforward. The paint now should be possible as he goes back onto his spot without touching the black, and having a very close contact with it. And he still has got a great variety of those reds for him to try and get the positional play sorted with. He's probably going to try and mix it up with the black and the pink here, because the black spot should be freed up of any more of those reds. And if that's not the case, then he's always going to be able to place the black onto the green spot. Just make a little bit of freedom there for the cue ball. Get himself with 65 points to an advantage. Make that 66 as he takes another red into the left part of the table. And now 67 at the table, about to make it 72 with the pink. This is going to be the frame ball, and for the first time since the fifth frame, Un-Nooh finds himself ahead of Barry Hawkins, and once again, one shot, two shots from 7-4 in favour of Barry. He now finds himself being 7-6 down, and still a chance here for Un-Nooh to try and make it the third century of the match. A break of 103 points that he's managed to achieve previously in the frame number 3 there, or number 2. It feels like it was frame number 3 there. Now, it's going to be a whole different story there, because it's going to be another frame where Barry doesn't score any of those points. And this time around, it is going to be entirely through the fault of his own, not being able to take those chances. And now Chipchaya is going to be able to be getting a little bit more of the table time, getting himself lined up for more and more of those reds to be taken. GG's frame certainly is, Kevin. And, well, it's not going to be a century break. Disappointing there that the red is going to stay out at the left part of the table. They already counted that one at the WSD app, and 86 points in the end. You can see there that the referee, Ben Williams, was checking as well with the scoreboard. Sometimes he can be a little bit too eager to be giving those points. In the end, he ends with a break of 62 points. It feels like it's only his third 50-plus break so far in the match there, but he's certainly going to be the one that takes him ahead for the match for the third time there, ever since having a 1-0 and a 3-2 of a lead. Apart from that, it has been either a draw or Hawkins to be very much the one closest to the quarter-final spot. Now, Chipchaya is going to have a lead. He's going to have the momentum. Can he try and have the final run as well to make his life a little bit simpler there? As it's now going to be down to the last 6 frames potentially. If the match is to go all the way, it could still be only 3 more frames needed. And then it is going to be Chipchaya to try and find himself very much in the quarter-final appearance up against Neil Robertson. And for now, by the way, in the Class of 92 match, you can see John Higgins is going to be back to the action. Williams has managed to score a couple of those points beforehand, but it's now Higgins that has got the upper hands of 20 plays 13 in his favour. And now having a look at the black to be taken into the right corner. By the way, thank you for everyone tuning into the stream. Feel free to hit the like on the stream and subscribe to the channel. We are going to be back with more action of the quarterfinals being just around the corner. And of course then the semi-finals are going to have a specific day dedicated to them. But what is that there from John Higgins? I mean, missing a black of the spot certainly was on his bingo card. And this is going to leave Mark Williams with a straightforward opportunity. As much as the black is going to be compromised. Well, this was a poor shot to say the least there from Higgins' execution. And we're about to start the 14th frame here. This time around it should be the turn for Barry Hawkins to take it away with a break-off shot. For now it's all going to be down to a little bit of pressure on his shoulders now. He needs to deliver, otherwise he will be in deep trouble and potentially faced up with issues of having to overcome 2 frames of a deficit there if he's unable to win the frame number 14 and having to win 4 out of the last 5 at the end of it. Now then, it's going to be his break-off shot. He needs it to be perfect, and he needs to be taking every single shot there. Anything but for granted. Try and dedicate himself to this sport for, well, 4 more frames there if he's going to be able to win every single one of them. Really weird break-off shot, as much as it's not going to be called bad there, but it's really weird one. He got 3 reds to be away from the main pack. One of them has gone onto the right side rail, and the other 2 are going to be right next to the pack as well. So, and the cue ball as well is going to be touching the yellow, pretty much full in the face. Something that you don't see very often on the snooker table, especially after the break-off shot. And now Chipchaya is really going to be stepping on the gas pedal. And he's getting himself lined up with all those difficult long reds to be going away into the pocket one more time. About to be lined up for the black into the left corner as well. And needs to hammer this one home. He certainly has hammered this one home. I'll tell you what, we could see the real resurrection now of Chipchaya. I said he managed to win the 3 frames on the bounce for the first time in the match. I'll tell you what, he's got himself lined up with a fantastic 4 to be on the way. And the previous frame, you can't really blame Hawkins for that one. Same probably has to be said about the start for this one as well. Because, well, I mean, 2 shots now from Chipchaya. Brilliant long red into the corner. And now, what a split it was. All of those reds now are going to be positioned perfectly well. And, yeah, the more, of course, you take away from the main action of the table, then the more you're going to have available to be potted there. As the old ones disappear, the new ones are going to be seeing more and more space for them to be taken into the left corner. The right middle or even the yellow or the green pocket for now. It seems like whatever it is going to be for Chipchaya, he can't miss either one of those options. About to get himself lined up for the black to be taken here into the right part of the table. And needs to do a little bit of a maintenance work with that cue ball. Make sure that he's going to be taking all that pace away from it. Now about to take it into 22 points of a cushion. And what's he going to be now? It's going to be more than 150 points without answer there from Barry Hawkins, because this is now going to be turning it into a little bit of a battery now, especially for the previous 3.5 frames. Chipchaya seems to have really taken control of the match, and it's only going to get worse for Barry from this point because he's not playing any snooker now, and Chipchaya seems to be playing snooker on the ultimate difficulty in the last couple of frames, but still able to complete all of those quests that the Destiny seems to have lined up ahead of himself. 10 frames to 6. Well, I assume you're going to be predicting Chipchaya to win this one because, I mean, Barry can't do that anyway with a 7 next to Chipchaya's name, but it's going to be a real chance there for Chipchaya once again to win. This time around, it will be 6 frames on the bounce there if he needs to try and perform the impossible against Barry Hawkins. He's done that before when he was 4 frames down against Ronnie O'Sullivan, and he ended up having a scoreline of 6 frames to 4 there, ahead of frame number 11. Now Chipchaya finds himself with a blue to be taken into the right middle, 38 points in the lead, and having a little bit of a look towards the lower end of the table as well, making sure that he has got those reds to be taken into the right part of the right corner of the table, I should say. So just carefully giving this red a little brush, make sure that he's not going to be able to repeat the same mistake as the one that he had before. And, well, I mean, I meant missing the reds. I didn't really mean messing up the positional play on the pink. And it's something that he's managed to recover from previously. This now is going to be a little bit more important because he's playing for the reds. And it's going to be the same ball that Barry Hawkins will need if he needs to come back to the table. This is a difficult rest shot. Really horrible cut there for him to be faced with. And I will know before he will know if the pink is going to disappear. Yes, he will. Brilliantly taken there by Un-Nooh. And it seemed like he had a bit of a hesitation in relation to the way that the cue ball was going to finish on another one of those reds. But he didn't really need to worry about that one too much. About to take the red carefully into the right middle. And wow, what on earth has he done there? And how has he missed that red into the right middle? I've got no words to say apart from Hawkins is going to be absolutely delighted with that chance. But now, delight is not going to be enough there. He needs to be winning this opportunity and he needs to be taking this match to go all the way. Because right now, it seems like he's going to have loads of work to be done there in relation to the scoreline. 50 points down before the start of this break. And now trying to get himself lined up for the blue into the left middle. So then the break of 6 points, he doesn't have any more of those real-time issues there in relation to those reds. He's got 5 of them to be in the open play. 1 more to be close to the right side rail, but at the same time, that's going to be the one very close to the right corner as well. And probably the biggest issue, though I probably wouldn't count that as a big issue anyway, is going to be a red to be taken into the left corner. So then what's it going to be for Barry? And needs to power his way through the black. Managed to do that well. And wisely keeping that cue ball to be lined up for the most difficult of those reds probably. And that will give him a chance to be playing for the black. And ultimately a little bit of a variety of those reds to come into play as well. And play that red superbly well once again. Getting lines up for the red to be taken into the right corner. So just careful backspin there, needed on the white. Make sure you're going to be able to put that shot through the black and get himself lined up for a nice little lineup for the red. So then 28 points behind, but in the end, the number that is going to matter is that he has got 67 points ahead of himself. 4 more reds to be in the open play. 1 more red to be slightly compromised by the right corner, but still clearly in a playable position. Now, this is now going to be a good opportunity here for Barry to try and play a topspin shot, get that cue ball to be lined up for the right-hand side of the table and take one of those reds one by one by the left corner as well. Finds themselves 20 points behind right now. And apart from that red by the right corner, he's not going to have any more issues up ahead of himself either. So just carefully taking that red towards the left corner, making sure the black is about to disappear into the right part of the table as well. And yeah, make sure that the white is going to find the target area of the black for one more time. He needed to make sure that he wasn't going to touch that red by any contact at all. But Chai is going to be disappointed there because of how he's left that chance to be hanging there in the air for Barry Hawkins. Because all he had to do was to be taking a couple more of those reds with expensive colours. And in the end, the one that he's missed next to the right middle has left the same red to be available for Barry. That has just played a bit of a bad shot there. So he's going to have too much of the angle anyway for the black, which will get that cue ball to be running an extra mile, which he probably didn't really need to be doing. And yeah, he's able to recover superbly well. Look at that for a shot. Brilliantly lined up. Probably played that one a bit too well and a bit too accurate in terms of the position of that cue ball in relation to the red. And just make sure he gives it a little bit of the nudge. Well, to be fair, I say a little bit of the nudge. He probably needs to be getting the positional shot away onto a blue as well, which leaves it with a very important shot there about to be taken here on the blue. 47 points, plays 50. Still going to be so close in relation to Hawkins having to work hard for it. But apart from that red and the yellow, all the remaining colours are going to be on their spots. Now, just needs that cue ball to keep running. And it's going to be the rest shot, which so far in the match hasn't been his strongest point there of the attribute of the attacking display. Finds himself ahead in this frame for the first time. And he's now going to be looking to try and extend this second break of 50 plus there in frame number 14. He needs to be getting really deep onto the white as well because of the yellow being out of position. And the target colour should be the blue there. The pink will do him as well, but it should be the blue. Doesn't want to be too straight on this one, and he seems to have played it just about perfectly well there, Barry. And after all the struggles that he's had in the last couple of frames, Chai clearly unable to get himself over the line here. And now it's going to be all down to the last 32 points that Barry can try and potentially score here. Taking the blue nicely, make sure that cue was going to keep rolling, and he will get himself lined up for the yellow nicely. So then, 8 points as a difference. The yellow's about to be taken away into its own pocket, so try and play that cue ball away for the ball cushion. Get himself lined up for the green, about to be taken into its own pocket as well. So he will need the ball colours and the blue, and at that point he's going to have 22 points of the advantage with 13 at the table. So this is certainly going to be the first real steal there from Barry Hawkins, where he always seems to have these dominant power about the frames that he's managed to win so far in the match. The story of this frame certainly is going to be the exact opposite of what we've seen beforehand, because as another brown disappears, he's had to work really hard for this one, but he's about to get the full execution of what's going to happen in frame number 14. And it seems like, once again, that lucky number of 72 is going to be enough for him to be taking this frame away there from Un-Nooh, despite the player from Thailand having such a good run early doors there. It wasn't enough, and now Hawkins finds himself winning the frame away and making sure that he's going to have a chance to be, well, it is now going to be a break of 72 points. He's not going to be able to fluke the pink, and there's not going to be any sense in playing on here. 2 snookers needed on the pink and black, and Un-Nooh is going to wisely concede a frame. So then it leaves up with 7 frames each now. So nothing to separate the players once again there. Barry Hawkins 7, Un-Nooh 7, and all the run, all the momentum, everything that we've seen in the last couple of frames is probably going to come out of the picture there. Because for now, thank you very much for everyone, by the way, that has been tuning in. Feel free to like on the stream and subscribe to the channel. This is probably going to blow the doors wide open there for Chai and for Hawkins at the same time, because if you're going to leave them with an opportunity to try and battle it out, then it's going to be left out to basically just whoever's got it best, whoever's got the most of those chances out there. And take your time and think carefully because your competitions are formidable. The suspense is unbearable. Watch. And it's going to be down to the last couple of frames, but ultimately, who's going to be able to sort of sustain the pressure better than the other player? Because right now, you have to say, both players have managed to take it this far. Right now, this is going to be where the real legend and the real winner is going to step up. The race to 3, maximum of 5 more frames for us to witness. By the way, how the class of 92 are doing. And Mark Williams and John Higgins, the scoreline is going to be 3-2 in favour of John there. So despite missing out on that black there, impressive. And Chipchai is eating that. Well, listen, he had a really good run in the previous couple of frames, but right now he finds himself in a bit of a weird situation there, probably for the first time in the match, where it's actually him that finds himself on the wrong side of a steal there. And Hawkins is finally able to take himself out of that comfort zone, because all the previous 6 frames that he was winning, every single time he seemed to have the fine edge in all of those frames. Not this time around, had to do it on the blue. Didn't manage to take the pink into the left corner, but didn't really need to be doing that anyway. Now it's going to be Chipchaya to take it away there and get the 15 frames to get started. This is now going to be the real battle of the 2 players. And the real battle is about to begin here, because we're about to witness those reds flying in there. Is he going to be the right-hand side of the table, or is he going to be the left part of the table anyway? We're about to find out, because Barry Hawkins is going to have the first real chance to go for the long red into the right corner. Is he going to be the way for him to go on about the business? It certainly is if you play a shot like that. Brilliant there from Barry. And now, doesn't want to be straight on the black. His reaction probably suggests that he is going to be straight on the black. Yeah, it's going to be disappointing there because there's nothing you can do about it. You need backspin. That's just what you need if you're going to be straight on this one, because the topspin is not going to take you anywhere, apart from maybe into the bunch of reds, but you're never going to have enough power to separate those ones away from each other. So backspin or nothing, or he needs to try and find the angle out of anything there. And, well, he seems to have settled for 7 points. And a risky shot potentially to be taken into the left middle. So what's it going to be then? All 6 spots are going to be taken. So the black will have to go underneath the cue ball. So the referee, it's not very often that you see there, the cue ball being the one that is going to be blocking the colour spot. And of course that being unintentional there from Hawkins. And just trying to place that cue ball well enough for the Reds. So then, is he going to be able to take it? Oh, this is going to be close. And just about there, in the end, it's going to be a bounce away. The wrong jaw was caught. And, well, to be fair, you catch the front jaw anyway. He wouldn't be able to pop the red at the same time. So the back end jaw of the left middle was caught. And this is going to leave the same red to be available for Un-Nooh. But wow, was he taking this one for granted? And he somehow missed that red as well. The problem for Barry is now he got himself lined up in a position where the cue ball had a touch of the yellow, which means it's going to be closer towards the left side. And even though the red is going to be closer and closer to the left middle, this is now going to be an interesting one, because it's impossible for you to overcut it. If you overcut it, you miss it entirely. And it's going to be all down to just trying to take that red. And he actually had the ability to be taking that with power as well. Now then, what's he going to be in terms of the lineup for the colours? He seems like he's going to be decent there for him. He needs that yellow to be available into the green pocket here. He's going to have, well, is he going to have any of those reds to be aiming for, really? Because it seems like it's just going to be one of those shots where maximum power, the right side cushion, and just hammer that cue ball to go into the pink. That's what he's tried. And it's a bloody good effort that from Barry, but unfortunately for him, it seems like he's going to have nothing available there. Put the pink out of position as well. It just seems like he's not going to be able to get the run of the ball for now. But he certainly is going to be happy with a 7-all for scoreline. Finding himself ahead at the starting point of this frame as well. And now trying to take the white all the way to the right side cushion. Make sure it's going to come away from the left side cushion as well. And yeah, he's going to have a bit of an opportunity here in relation to those 2 reds that he could have taken into the main bunch of reds there. Just has to be careful that eventually one of them won't go over the right corner. The last thing that he wants to be doing right now is to be giving a free lunch away to Barry Hawkins, making sure that he's going to have those chances to be stacked up on top of each other, something that he has been doing consistently over the course of the previous 14 frames. And once again, you can see total points there, 686 for Un-Nooh, 662 for Barry Hawkins. Nothing to separate the two players, and really risky attempt there from Barry, and he was always going to end up with only one outcome, and it's going to be the worst possible outcome for him. He put the pink to be in the open play, and he's got that cue ball to be right in the mix of those reds. So, over to you, Chipchire. What can you try and produce out of a position like that? I'll tell you what you should be doing. You should be winning the frame from here, because the black is available. The pink is now available after that horrible miscue from Barry Hawkins there. And a shot that he's played so badly at the end. So the black is about to be taken into the left part of the table. The cue ball is going to get himself lined up for the red. About to be taken into the right part of the table as well. And yeah, that cue ball needs to be sort of well, being pretty much short in the pace there in relation to the black, because he doesn't want to be lined up too high of that one, but he still wants to have a little bit of the angle, so that he's just going to be taking those reds one by one from the left corner and utilising that corner pretty much on the next 3 or 4 shots there. Straight away, he's going to have a little bit of the issue of having to breach over another red to be in the way, and he should be able to handle this one for a while. Yeah, I mean, that was such a bad giveaway from from Barry Hawkins' point of view, because now it is going to be Chipchire that is going to be rocking up those points. 3 reds, 3 blacks, and yeah, he's probably going to be able to take 9 reds and 9 blacks there, which technically is going to be 72 points that he scores, and that will be more than enough for him to be the frame winner. Yeah, it's one of those situations where an amateur could have taken this position to go all the way there, and a professional on the top 16 on the 1 year list certainly should be able to do that now. But sometimes, you know, you're going to have pressure. Sometimes you're going to have a bit of a misjudgment, and a minor mistake can be sort of heading towards a bigger mistake in a couple of shots time as well. Something that he needs to be aware of. He's not going to be able to score 72 points because he's decided to be playing for the blue, but because it's not going to matter at all for him. He may need to use a couple more of those reds, to be fair, but in the hindsight and in the grand scheme of things, it wouldn't really matter in relation to the way that you have got those reds to be set up. Then the black about to be taken into the right corner, and very carefully there in relation to that cue ball. The treatment needs to be supreme, but at the same time, he needs to be getting that momentum and that flow to keep going there for him. So if you're going to be having a chance to try and take this red away into the right corner, he should be getting that white to go all the way for the blue, and he seems to have got it now, because as long as he's going to be having a minor angle on the blue, just try and force that cue ball to go off the right side, get himself lined up for the red to be taken into the left corner, and then it's going to be getting himself lined up for the left corner as well. So then it's going to be a red about to disappear into the left part of the table once again there. But Chipchire seems like he's got himself thinking about the 2 more reds there about to be taken. So then 60 plays 11. So that leaves him with 49 points of the advantage, 67 at the table, which still puts him in a relatively comfortable position there. But 2 more reds to be taken, and then there's not going to be any way back for Barry Hawkins. And once again, it is going to be an 8-7 of a lead there for Un-Nooh. And he was able to overcome a 6-4 of a deficit, find himself 7-6 ahead. And now 8-7. He's going to be very much there for the taking for him. So a careful shot on the blue. And, well, that cue ball needs to stay away from the pocket. And in the end, it looked like Chipchire was going to be walking away from the table, about to be coming back to his seat. But in the end, the cue ball is just about going to stay at the table. And for it not to be dropping into the right middle. And still a very disappointing miss there that he is going to have. So, this is still going to be a potential chance for Barry to try and come back in frame number 15. before this is going to be taken all the way there. So the red is about to be taken into the left middle here. So 55 points as the advantage for Un-Nooh. So what's it going to be here for Barry? Is he going to try and take this red into the left middle? He probably needs to be doing that, because as much as he still has enough points on the board, he's going to have to be scoring all of those points right now, and he hasn't managed to get that red to disappear into the left middle. And if the red is going to get any sort of a bounce off the ball cushion, then he's going to be playable there for Un-Nooh. And in the end, it looks like the outcome is still going to be very positive for the player from Thailand. The underdog before the match has started and just about rolls that red into the yellow pocket now. He's going to have himself lined up with a potential black here to be taken. Although, I mean, of all the places on the table, he actually finds himself in a little bit of a danger zone where he finds himself snookered by the red. So, I mean, he's done really well to be taking that red away from the table, which leaves it 56 points of a difference and 51 at the table. So, he should be safe in relation to the 4 points to be given away. So, he shouldn't be calling the blue or the pink. I mean, the pink is the easier one to hit, realistically, but so which one is it going to be then? Clearly has made his call there to the referee. And, yeah, it was the black that he hit. And, well, to be fair, it's a good call that, because he's managed to hit the black. If he was unable to do so, he potentially would have brought a couple of those reds to be in the open play. But also, giving away 7 points at that stage of the frame would have been something of a disaster for him. So then Barry just carefully giving one of those reds a nudge. Make sure that he doesn't force one of them to be over the right corner. And even though he's done that, he needs the cover from the brown to appear onto the scene. And it hasn't worked out there. Super close to getting a really difficult snooker lined up. In the end, the difference in between a couple of millimeters seems to be the factor of Un-Nooh having the chance to be taking this red into the right corner, nearly missing the red and putting the black there, which would have put Barry Hawkins under a real chance there of sealing this frame. And the only reason why Un-Nooh is smiling right now is because the black has somehow stayed away from the left middle. And Hawkins needs to try and take it all the way once again. Seems to be a much better line there in relation to the brown. He's still not going to get a good contact on the cue ball though. So as much as it is going to be a good safety that he plays, he needs to be getting those 2 reds with the black. And yeah, he needs to be trying to do something with one of those reds to end it with. But well, once again, I mean, Un-Nooh can't just rely on getting away with all of those mistakes there every single time. And he just has the cue ball to go in off there. So into the right corner he goes. Now Barry's going to have a chance to be taking a red into the left corner. A ball in hand should be helping him out here. And is he going to be able to take this red away? He will. Well, it does change the situation slightly. It doesn't put him back in the equation just yet, because he's going to be 1 point short. So he still needs to try and find at least one of those fouls of a snooker to be lined up with Un-Nooh. For now, he's going to be able to take a red and a black sequence, which will get him lined up nicer for the end of the frame. So then 44 points behind, 43 at the table. Finds himself with a sequence of a red to be taken here into the right corner. And just very carefully needs to be nursing that cue ball towards the black here. So make sure that he is going to have a label of that black to be taken into the left corner. Then potentially have the cue ball to be sent next to the red. And that one to go all the way to the top end of the table there. With the pink being over the pocket, it probably is not going to be too huge of a target in terms of it's going to be a straightforward mission for him to get that red in. If he gets a chance in, and then at that point onwards, he should have a chance of taking the pink with it. And if he gets 4 points on the board there, 35, that's going to mean that he can afford to be losing 2 more points there, which leaves him with a chance of taking the blue. So he can take that red with the pink, with the blue or the black there, and then he's still going to have himself lined up with a 6-color clearance to have the chance, but at the same time, he needed to get the snooker before that, and his first chance comes begging because this red is going to be in visibility there for Chipchaya. And Chipchaya himself is going to have a chance to roll that cue ball towards the brown. It seems to have played a good shot there. The brown is going to be covering the good chunk of that red. And he may leave Hawkins now, having to play this shot from the attacking to a defensive point of view. Needing to send that cue ball to go all the way towards the black ball cushion. And, well, it's a hidden hole for him. And let's see where it's going to finish. The cue ball is going to go all around the table. The green is going to fall in its own pocket. And now it is going to be 4 points to be given away to Un-Nooh. An absolute calamity there for Hawkins. But at the end of it, it seems like that mission of trying to steal this 15 frame is not going to be possible now. Especially with the red about to disappear into the yellow pocket. And very rarely there, you see Chipchaya just confirming with Barry that he's not going to be coming back to the table. You would have thought that he was going to try and do something with those colours, get himself a little bit of momentum to be going. In the end, that's not going to be the case. And he's still going to have 758 points to speak for himself. And now he's about to win another frame there and take it down to 8-7 of a lead that he has. Barry Hawkins needs to try and win 3 out of the last 4 frames. Chipchaya only needs to be doing that 2 out of the last 5. And he will be the player to be playing Neil Robertson in the quarterfinal stage. But now certainly seems to be one of the players to beat there on the tour. And Higgins about to turn that 2-0 of a deficit into a 4-2 advantage. He's got 51 points of a difference in his favour now, whilst having 7 of those reds to be still in the open play. So carefully taking the black into the right corner there for Big John. So what's it going to be from his point of view? Because it seems like we managed to figure out what's going to be happening in a match of Hawkins against Chipchaya there. It's just going to be all down to who gets the better chance and who's finally going to be able to take it from the first opportunity or not. But that certainly was the case with Chipchaya in that frame number 15 there. As he gets himself lined up with 8-7 of a lead now. He's going to be coming back to the lower end of the table here once again. 58 points of a lead that he has, whilst having 83 at the table. About to get that down to 1 more red for him to be taken. Gives a little nudge towards those reds, and it seems like it's managed to do all the dirty work with a single shot there that he's played. Barry, in the meantime, about to place that cue ball to be in between the yellow and the brown. By the way, thank you for everyone tuning into the stream. Feel free to like on the stream and subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much for every single one of you that has been watching. We're still going to have the quarterfinals, the semis, and with 1 semi per day on a Friday and a Saturday. And then, of course, the final consisting of 2 sessions to be played in between the 2 best players on the 1-year list. Right now, another red is about to find their target there from Un-Nooh. And it's a really good shot there that he's played after the break-off from Barry Hawkins. Now, is he going to have the reward of the green as well? It seems like the answer is going to be positive yet again there for him. And the chance to be taking this green towards the yellow pocket is going to find the target there. So a huge bounce there off the cue ball. Find himself to be lining up on the reds at the either right middle or the right corner there. It's going to be entirely up to him on which one of them he wants to try and take on. The red into the middle probably was the easier one, but certainly not if you play like that. I mean, he has managed to get the red in, but he certainly used all of the power that he had within himself. Still getting lined up for the brown, for the black, I should say, and nearly missing out on that one again. Just seems to be touching that front jaw of the right corner way too many times there, Chipchaya. This time around, once again, just like it was on the red, with, well, that one being the power, to be fair. He's managed to get away with this particular shot. And, well, he just seems like he's making life more and more difficult for himself. Trying to play a little nudge towards those reds. And right now, he's going to have to try and take it with the blue. Doesn't want that middle jaw to be caught. And that's exactly what's going to happen there on the cue ball. Although, if he's got the highest of those reds to be taken into the right middle, then he could have worked out... Well, could not have worked out any better for him, because the cue ball is not quite going to be perfectly onto the side cushion. And the red is about to be taken really well into the right corner as well. So now this is going to be a real threat there for some points to be scored from Un-Nooh. The magical 777 there for him. And is he going to be an 800 points there that he scores at the end of this frame? Look at that for a shot. Brilliant cue action. And once again, it is going to be Un-Nooh at the top of his game. And, well, we've seen glimpses, and we are seeing a bit more than the glimpses. Apart from that incredible steal from Barry Hawkins of having those 72 points that he scored in frame number 14. Apart from that, it has been a bit of a Un-Nooh show ever since the start of the second mini session here of the day 2. And once again, it is the intermission that seems to have allowed him to have this perfect resurrection there. And now having a 32 points of a cushion in frame number 16. Having a red to be lined up at the left corner of the table. So then just trying to carefully play this cue ball. Make sure he gets himself set up for the black. About to be taken into the right part of the table again. And just having a little bit of a look towards the right hand side there of the table. Feels like he's going to have a chance to be playing those shots for the left middle in relation to the next couple of reds. You don't really want to be doing that. So he's clearly going to be looking for that gap to try and get in behind the black, and he's played that shot superbly well. It's difficult to describe how, it looks like it's the most straightforward shot for you to play, but you need loads of spin to use there to be finding that cue ball. And on the wrong side of that red, and now about to take that black for the right corner one more time. So then 48 points as the advantage here for Un-Nooh. About to take another red into the left corner, and very carefully there for the cue ball to be positioned on the pink. So then what's it going to be? The top spin looks like it is going to be used here, and very carefully on the cue ball's point of view. But well, I said careful on the cue ball. You still have to get the pot in. And what did I say about that break of 50 points there that he had in that frame number 14? Exactly the same situation. He's got a frame of a lead. He's got 48 points now of a lead, and he still allows Barry Hawkins to be coming back to the table under such extreme pressure there, clearly, of himself. And now Barry's got such a straightforward position up ahead of himself to try and make it 8 frames each and take it down to the 17th frame. Make it potentially the same frame count as Trump against Mark Allen in the first round match. Of course, Trump was in the end able to prevail and win the encounter at the expense of Mark Allen. Now, can Barry Hawkins try and do a similar sort of thing there? It's difficult to say who's been the one trying to make themselves come back into the equation of the match, but whatever it is, Hawkins always seems to have that extra opportunity given away there by Un-Nooh, and he's now going to have a really good chance to try and make it the break that really counts for him. He's still going to have 75 points available for him on top of the 14 points that he scored. And this is now going to be a really costly miss once again there by Un-Nooh. After missing those pinks to blacks in the previous couple of frames. The rate that he's missed into the left corner. Without a clear-cut chance to be making that red to go all the way at the right part of the table. Now it's going to be 33 points of a difference in favour of Un-Nooh. But it's very much Barry Hawkins that is the player at the table here. And carefully taking that black into the right corner, making sure the only little trouble that he had were the two reds positioned so close to each other. Now, he's managed to separate them away from each other there. 26 points of a difference. And still trying to get himself lined up with this red. About to be taken at the left part of the table. Wants that cue to miss the blue. And doesn't want too much of the angle, to be fair. May have to be settling for the yellow here. And just use that red at the top end of the table to make sure he's going to be able to maintain full control of the white and get himself lined up with the best possible action here on the cue ball. And it does seem like, apart from those 10 shots to be in the way or so, it is looking more and more likely that Barry Hawkins is going to have exactly the same story as the one that he had in frame number 14, and about to prove to Un-Nooh that sometimes, having a great form and a great start to the frame doesn't mean anything if you're not able to finish your chances away. Now he's going to have to play this red carefully into the left middle. He should position himself for the green or the brown here as well. But ultimately, it is going to be down to the short selection here for Barry, which sometimes can still take it all the way there. He's going to have a very straight shot on the brown, so he's not going to have a chance to spot the yellow or blue. So it's green or nothing to me, because the brown just doesn't give you the any angle at all. And if you're going to be using all that backspin on the cue ball, then you put yourself under loads of pressure in terms of trying to get that one right. And yeah, he seems to have played this shot just about well enough, especially if that red goes past the pink into the left corner. And then he should get himself lined up for the red about to be taken here at the left edge of the table. And once again, very carefully taken there. Well, I'd say carefully. Still caught a little bit of the front jaw, but in the end, the red is going to disappear at the bottom of the table. 18 points behind, 43 at the table after this blue. And he still finds himself as very much the favourite, as has been the story. As soon as he stepped back to the table, it was always going to be down to, has he got the chance to try and take it away there? Has he got the opening red? He certainly managed to find it into the right corner, and now, 35 points later, he's going to have his chances to be skyrocketing to the top there in relation to those two reds. Still lines up in the great and open play there for Barry. Just looking to try and get himself lined up with the positional play on the pink here. Well, didn't want to be straight here. He's not going to have the backup of the black or the blue, so he needs to be taking the pink. And let's have a look at the way that this is going to go there. By the way, thank you for everyone tuning into the stream. Feel free to like and subscribe to the channel. It's about to make another pink there to disappear. Oh, this could be a little bit awkward there for Barry. As much as I understand why he was taking that cue ball to be closer to the blue, he needed to make sure he didn't take it too close. And it seems like he's still going to be able to put his hand on the table without being compromised by the blue here. So then, just getting it all down to the last 7 shots there or so to be played. The red is in. So it's now going to be down to the last 6 here. And just very carefully to be played on the blue. To go once again level on points. Exact story as the one that we've seen in frame number 14. And something that not even sort of the likes of Ronnie O'Sullivan were able to do against Un-Nooh is to win 8 frames in a race to 10 there. And despite Barry probably not playing his best game so far this season, but you can understand the reasoning behind it. He still finds the energy and the brilliance of his game to be back with great execution. I don't know why the points weren't counting. Apologies for that. He's now on 50-48 in relation to the points on the board there for Un-Nooh. So it's now going to be all down to the break of 53 points that he manages to achieve. And he needs the brown and the blue to be taken. And then at that point onwards, he should have 14 points of a gap with only 13 at the table there. So then Barry's going to have everything lined up ahead of himself. But can he try and finally make it past that 7 of a mark there? He's got 735 points that he scored so far in the match. And he needs that cue ball to keep rolling to getting the position on the blue. And he certainly played that one just about as well as he could have. The break of 72 was the one that got him the frame win in that frame number 14. This time around, it looks like he will need the break of 62 points to get himself lined up with a perfect ending to the frame of 16 there. And it's now going to be the magical number 8 in China of 68 points at the end as the pink is about to be taken. And it is Barry Hawkins that takes it 68 points clear of Un-Nooh that wasn't able to get himself over the line there. Once again, you know, you add those 2 frames together, it could have been 10-6 of a win. In the end, it is going to be 8 frames each there in relation to Barry Hawkins and Un-Nooh. Nothing to separate them, and it now turns to best of 3. And a race to 2 there. Only 1 more frame for them to be taken, and well, they've guaranteed themselves a decider. For now, John Higgins seems to be flying through the gears there, and as much as he had a bit of a rough start there against Mark Williams, of being 2 framed down, he's now finding himself 4-2 up there and about to take another red to extend his 34 points of a lead against Mark Williams and make it a one-man show for now. Once again, let's have a look at how Williams was actually performing there. Barry's not dead. Well, he's certainly not. And he certainly seems to be fighting very much till the end point there, whether he's going to be able to try and stop that winning machine of Chaya, because, listen, you could always give credit to someone that is constantly finding those breaks in, but you have to say all that is purely down to mistakes that have been made by Chaya himself, and he only has himself to blame. He needs to try and do better in the remainder of those 3 frames that are about to unfold, that could be about to unfold. It's now going to be down to either 2 or 3 frames that we're about to witness. Is it going to be a decider, or is it going to be a 10-8 win for either one of the players? But whichever one wins it, they'll have to realise that they will need a massive step up ahead of their match with Neil Robertson. Otherwise, they'll be looking at the exit door at the second round anyway. So in the meantime, still it is looking like it is John Higgins there that has got these frames to lose. In the frame number 7, getting those reds to be working for him nicely in his favour. And he could still be looking at a potential of a 5-2 of a gap now. But now, just as I say that, well, it was a straightforward red to be taken into the left corner, but a little bit of an undercut there from John Higgins. And the red is going to stay at the table. The good news for him is that he's going to have so many of those reds to be spread out across the table that he's probably guaranteed to have Mark Williams stumbling on at least one of them. So then 8 frames each. Another frame to be started there by Un-Nooh, and it's another chance here for Barry Hawkins. The black is available to be taken into the right corner, but what's he going to be? Does he have that special feeling that he had at the start of the 15th frame to try and get himself to be very much the man to beat? And he certainly got the long pot in. Brilliant shot there from Barry, and now it's going to be all down to him potentially trying to find that cutting edge and be able to create those chances for himself. It's one thing where you're able to sort of pick up the scraps there from the chance not being taken from Chaya's point of view, but now he could be the real deal to try and take this one away. Exciting game and even more exciting commentary. Thank you very much there. 8 points of a lead there for Barry, and he has got the position very much ahead of himself here, and it does look promising, to be fair, because he's going to have 5 of those reds available. The black is now going to be in the perfect condition and spot, and no reds are going to be in the way of the black here. So this is going to be super exciting to be watching in relation to that cube on the black, whether he's going to be able to try and find that ball to be taken past the black here and get himself lined up for the red here to be taken into the left part of the table. Seems like the answer is going to be negative. And, well, to be fair, he still has got a great variety of 5 more reds here. 3 could be taken into the left side of the table there, but at the same time, all 3 of them could be taken into the right middle as well. That leaves a little bit of flexibility there for Barry Hawkins to be taking, and now about to give another nudge towards those reds, and if he's going to be on the right side of the blue, which the answer is he certainly will be, just extending those reds to be in open play every single time there, down to 5. And now, is he going to be worth trying to take that cue ball into the bunch of reds straight away? And I thought he was about to do that. And, well, has he got that cue ball to be close enough to the reds? It seems like he's going to be all right there, but he certainly was a bit too close for comfort there for Barry Hawkins. Game on big frame. It's a huge frame now for Hawkins, because I can actually remember the last time where we've seen Barry having a realistic chance to try and take that frame all the way without Chaya having sort of 50 points on the board there, because he's managed to win 3 out of the last 5 frames, that's for sure. And then the 2 frames that he hasn't won were the ones that he had a 48 and a 50 points of a lead, and Hawkins had breaks of 72 and 68 there to be winning those respective frames there. So, only 30 points behind in relation to total points scored in the previous 16 frames. And now just having a look at the position of the pink. So clearly doesn't want to be taking the black now, which is going to be a sign that he's landed pretty straight on that one. And being straight on the pink is not going to be so much of a punishment. But, well, this is surely going to be a huge punishment there for Barry. I said the story of the last couple of frames there has been Un-Nooh not being able to get himself over the line. And why? Well, there's 2 whys there, really, because why on earth Barry Hawkins has played that ping anyway? Because, to me, he was always going to miss it, especially if he was going to play with so much power. But also, why on earth has he not managed to take care of the positional shot on the black there, which would have forced him to be taking that pink on. But, you know, to be fair, you have to give him credit for getting himself back to be 8 frames each there, sharing 8 frames with Un-Nooh. But now it is going to be the chance for a player from Thailand to finally get himself lined up with a good sequence of shots and get this frame to be on the board there for himself. Finds himself to be 15 points down. And, well, you have to say, by the way, I'm just trying to go back with a bit of a flashback. He has gone wrong for Hawkins on the previous shot on the blue, where he got away with it to an extent because he wasn't entirely out of position. But even at that point, you could sort of see there, the signs were there. It was a bad positional shot on the red. And the following shot that he's had on the pink was the one that sort of cost him the positional play. And now he's going to have not a lot of those chances to be coming back to the table here. Once again, it's exactly the same story as the one that he had. Very much in his favour when those mistakes of Un-Nooh were coming into the play. Because right now, every single one of those reds, apart from maybe the one next to the right side cushion, is going to be in a playable condition. And it's going to be, well, can easily be taken care of there in Un-Nooh's favour. And he only needs to find 2 more frame wins. He's been looking for that frame number 9 win for a while. And it seems like he's just about going to be short there on the cue ball, which still leaves him with another chance. But it's a rest shot that ideally he would have liked to be sort of avoiding very much until the end point of the frame. And yeah, this red could have been taken in so many different options there. But, well, I mean, I'll tell you what. Usually, sometimes you see those players to be finding loads of form at the end point of the match. Un-Nooh and Barry Hawkins are unable to do anything of that. And you could see the frustration on Un-Nooh's face as soon as he knew that he was going to have a rest shot like that to be played. He was a bit like, well, am I going to make that? And the answer is no. He wasn't even close to it. He was so far ahead that he was leaving that red to be on the side cushion, which never happens if you play that shot with so little power. And in the end, Barry Hawkins is able to, well, end those struggles for him and get the red to be potted into the same pocket where he missed the pink previously. Well, I said that was potentially roles reversed there for the 2 players. Now it is going to be, once again, another chance not taken there for Un-Nooh. And Barry is going to be coming back to the table here and taking this red into the right corner with loads of topspin there on the cue ball. And making sure that cue ball is going to be anywhere but straight on the black. And it seems like, once again, he's going to be quite close to being straight. But I feel like he's going to have the minor angle to be forcing that cue ball to go slightly further up the table. And yeah, he decided to go for purely the backspin shot, which still, with him executing that one quite as well, he's going to find him with 18 points of a lead here. So what's it going to be here for Barry? Is he going to be finally able to find himself ahead in the match for the first time since the 11th frame there, when he had a 6-5 of a lead? Of course, Un-Nooh managed to level the score sheet at that point, and then ever since that sequence of frames there, it was always going to be him in the lead, or it's being a draw. Now, ever since the look at that. I mean, we've seen 1-0, we've seen 3-0, we've seen 6-0, 7-0, 8-0, and now could it be Barry Hawkins to try and step away there from the shadow of himself that he has been throughout the majority of the match, and finally find himself as a true champion that he surely is, and accelerate away there into the 17 and the 18 frame wins. Un-Nooh still is going to be very disappointed with the way that this frame is about to be lost there, because you are going to have to start counting the balls that Barry Hawkins needs for him to be taking this match, taking this frame away from Un-Nooh. But, you know, same thing happens in the next frame, and he could be taking the match away from Un-Nooh, and could be getting himself lined up with a match against Neil Robertson. So then very carefully taking this red into account into the right corner here. So 30 points is the lead, and if he's going to be able to take those 2 reds with the black, then he should be able to not even need any one of those 2 reds by the left or the right side cushion, and then the lead of 9 frames to 8 is going to become a reality there for Barry Hawkins. And carefully taking that black, make sure that spin is going to be working just about as well as he can for him. And yeah, just very carefully making sure that he finds that cutting edge of the red about to be taken here into the right corner. Gets himself a lead of 39 points here. GG's frame, it should be. He's about to get himself lined up for a frame ball. The black then for the 9-8 of the gap. And for the first time in 5 frames, it is going to be Un-Nooh that finds himself in trouble and he missed it. Wow. GG's frame. I said he was going to be a frame ball and he's missed that one. Wow. The black off the spot, by far the easiest frame ball that we've seen missed today. Why on earth would you play that with so much power? Barry has got his face in his hand. He's got his hand in the face. Well, he may as well have the face in his hand because this was absolutely... This does give you a little bit of vibes there of the paint being missed by Un-Nooh in that 10 frame against Chop. And I tell you what, this is now... Does he go for this red into the corner? No, he doesn't. Clearly realises that he needs to be working for that chance. Snooker gods have given him a lifeline to try and hold on to. And Barry. I mean, how on earth do you approach this one? Madness. Steal again. It is going to be a little bit of a madness. By the way, I am going to spoil this one for you and give you a little bit of a spoiler alert. I mean, I still expect Barry to be winning this one because right now Chip is playing by far the worst that I've seen him play in the recent couple of matches. But, you know, it doesn't mean that he can't try and switch it on again. You know, he's going to be... What's the situation on points then? 39 behind, so he can lose 3 points there. He needs to get that pink into the open play though. For now, it's exactly lined up on the left side cushion. So it's going to be very difficult for him to try and string and break together with total clearance without the pink. So for now, he's just trying to plant the cue ball to be exactly on the bulk line and having one red to be next to it. So, I mean, he is tempting Barry Hawkins to be going for that red to be taken along the side cushion. And, well, for now, he finds himself in a snooker situation. That temptation is clearly not going to be taking place here. And, well, he doesn't want to be giving out those points away to Chipchaya. And I tell you what, this is not a gimme at all, but this is a chance now for Chipchaya. He's trying to take that cue ball around the red. And he was always going to have a bit of a risk of leaving a shot like that on there into the left corner. So what's he going to be then? He needs to be taking this one on there, whatever happens, because of how far away this frame has come already. Now then, the red has been sent, and it's not going to reach the target. How far away from the pocket is he going to be, though? It should be far away from Hawkins not taking this one on there. Although, I've seen harder ones taken. So what's it going to be? Does he trust in his ability to try and finish the job off here after all the excitement that Chipchaya must have received after him missing that black off the spot and potentially realising that he must still have a chance, or he had that chance previously. By the way, I still don't really understand what he was playing for. I've just realised that he should have not taken that red on at all because that red taking on... he was playing for the bold colours there. I'm just trying to rewind the position that Barry Hawkins had lined up ahead of himself. So Chipchaya was playing for the brown or the bold colours, which would have allowed him to be lined up with a respot only, which is a bit of a weird one. By the way, he's played a really good shot there. Hawkins played an intelligent shot previously, trying to get the black to be out of position. And at the same time, Chipchaya managed to get the black away from the black ball cushion. And now Barry, once again, has got the chance to try and do something with those reds. Yeah, he's got so many tools there that he can try and use as advantage there over Un-Nooh. He's got the paint positioning. He's got the fact that he's got 39 points of a lead. Well, this red is going to be close enough to the yellow pocket for him to be considering, but Chipchaya is not going to be doing that. And probably the right thing there to be done. Now, this looks good. This looks really good. Is it going to be a really good ending, though? It seems like it's going to be close there for that cue ball to be behind the black, but close doesn't mean that he got it. And if he hasn't got it, then he's left the long red available to be taken into the yellow pocket. Yes, Barry, that's the way. It's going to be all down to just trying to take this red into the yellow pocket. Can he see enough of it? Or is he going to be all down to the safety battle? He can't afford to be playing a safety shot out of it. Well, I mean, he may as well have done that, because that clearly was an attempt of a potting angle. And, well, he hasn't really worked out at all there, because that one was missed by a mile there by Barry. I say Chip Chai is not playing well. Barry seems like he's not playing well at all. But remember, when you're not playing well, you do want those 39 points to be very much on your side and not on the side of your opponent. So what's it going to be? Another double about to be taken here with this red. Oh, doesn't want that cue ball to be heading towards the right corner. And once again, it just seems like he's always getting the benefit of the doubt there, Chip Chai. And the black could still be a massive force there to be in the way of that cue ball. By the way, thank you for everyone tuning into the stream. Feel free to like and subscribe to the channel. We're about to have the ending for the ages here. 39 points, remember. 43 at the table. 39 is the difference. And now, the black to be a potential color to be snookery here. And also, one thing that I have ignored with focusing so much on the cue ball, the pink is now in the open play. Yes, it's out of position, but it's right next to the top end of the D there. This is going to be such a horrible shot for Hawkins to be faced up with. He's got two reds to be aiming for. He got one of them full in the face, and it's probably about as well as he could have played that shot there. Well done there by Barry, because it was a difficult position, and he certainly managed to put himself back as the firm favourite. But I say firm favourite only because he's got those two reds to be out of position. You know, if Chip Chai gets himself a chance here, barring the second red, he should be getting lined up nicely in relation to the total clearance. And once again, trying to find that black next to the right corner with the cue ball to be sent next to it. In the end, he's going to be quite far away from it, and the red is going to join the party of the pink and the brown next to the D. So this is forming the real pack of balls there in terms of the yellow, the green, the brown, the pink, and the red now are all joined to be basically on the edge of the D there. So it all seems like it's going to be down to the action here. But is it going to be Barry Hawkins to just try and find that red? Clearly, you're not going to have Chip Chai Nu to be finding a snooker out of a situation like that. So it's going to be a race for the red for him. And, well, he's trying to be using that brown as a cover point. It wasn't a risky shot, I would say, because that red was always going to be closer to the lower end of the table than the top one. And you're never going to cut that red into the middle. So probably a smart short selection there from Barry. Because now it's all going to be down to Chip Chai thinking about the cue ball placement, but he's going to be playing a very dangerous game if he wants to try and send the white towards the black ball spot again. So what's he going to be then? Is the cue ball going to be taken towards that red to go all the way? That's what he's trying to do, but I said he was going to be playing a risky game. He needs that cue ball to be resting perfectly onto the black ball cushion, and still, even then, it is a game with the devil there. Because if you're Barry Hawkins, you probably feel like, well, first of all, you just sort of underestimated me by saying that I can't take a long pot like that, because he clearly had this exact short selection in mind. But also, even if he misses this red, honestly, I'm not even trying to jinx it, but I can't see him leaving a red over the pocket if he's going to be able to plan that cue ball away into the top end of the table. And look at that. I mean, that was horrible short selection there from Chip Chai. And now he's about to be punished for it in full extent. Yeah, I said, despite that miss on the black, I felt like the points advantage and the position on the table was always going to be in Barry's advantage. And now there's not going to be a way back for Chip Chai Nu, surely. Especially with Hawkins having a chance to try and take the black away. And that will surely put it down to the 18 frame. And that is the case. So then, Barry Hawkins has got 818 points there, scored in total, but these 8 points that he just scored were probably the most important one. The ones throughout the entire match there. Can he try and go for another long shot, make it 3 on the bounce? Yes, he can. I mean, he certainly was keeping those long reds quiet. And now he's getting himself lined up with a really good line of a 9-8 of a lead. And he's not going to bother about the brown at all. And he knows that Chip Chai won't have a response to 48 points of a lead. Now then, 819 points, plays 127, but ultimately it's 9 frames that plays 8 there in favour of Barry Hawkins. 17 frames in, and it's going to be the advantage to the Hawk. And it's the speed king that needs to try and find that speed once again to be working in his direction. By the way, you can see that 5-2 of a lead there in the class of 92. John Higgins managed to win 5 frames on the bounce, and Williams is still going to be looking for some sort of positives there to try and take it to the second session, as he needs to be taking the 8th frame to avoid a humbling defeat in the first session by 6 frames to 2. Well, one thing that you have to say about Un-Nooh and Barry Hawkins, they're certainly going to be able to avoid the humbling defeat, but how on earth is one of them not going to be able to win that match of snooker? Because both of them had their chances, but ultimately, how close have both of them also been to be absolutely running away with it with a dominant performance? In the end, it's not going to be the case. And what are we going to see in relation to the remainder of the match there? Is it going to be down to John Higgins and Mark Williams to try and put up an entertainment? Or is it going to be finally another decider there for us to be seeing in between Barry Hawkins and Un-Nooh? They've played before in their respective careers, but ultimately they haven't played too many of those matches. And the last meeting in between the two of them has to come all the way back to the China Grand Prix earlier this season. But ultimately they only played twice in the last 9 years or something. 8 years, I should say. So then, Barry Hawkins about to be breaking off here. This is going to be the chance for him to try and get an early foot in and make sure that it is going to be a 10-8 of a win. Un-Nooh now needs to be working on trying to force a decider. He's done pretty well throughout, once again, moments of the match, but consistency has been missing once again. And, a really low force sort of shot there from a break-off from Barry Hawkins. Is he going to work out? I'm not sure he will, It seems like it's going to be a red potentially available into the right corner there for Un-Nooh. Is he going to have a chance to try and give the fans what they came to see, the neutral fans what they came to see? Not now. And he's certainly not going to be able to make a long pot like that. Oh, that red had so much spin on there. Clearly given away by the cue ball. So, straight away, one-shot play there by Un-Nooh. Already, so many problems created. Pink and blue to be out of position. The pink is in the open play now. The blue is quite badly positioned onto the right side cushion. So it does look like it is now going to be down to this red, about to be taken into the yellow pocket. So what's it going to be here for Barry? It's clearly going to be the one getting the first chance in, but when it comes to the reds being available, the one that he has got, and he's going to have one more available at the lower end of the table, but that's about as much as he's going to get for you. And he's got the shot at the paint now into the left middle, but I genuinely don't understand the way that he's going to have a shot with so much power to try and get that cue ball to be heading towards those reds. So he needs to be playing for the only red that he's got available. That's exactly what he's done there. And now gets himself positioned for the red. About to be taken into the left corner. 7 points of a lead. Every single one of those points will count now for Barry. But, of course, especially at this stage of the frame, it's now going to be down to having more of those reds to be in the open play. Now then, perfectly alongside the black, the shot that could potentially be the match-winning shot. The black into the right corner. Is he going to be able to spread those reds away from each other? Right now, they're forming a perfect triangle. He got a bit of a bad touch on them, but now it still seems like he's going to get the perfect result. The first shot will have to be a mid-range shot into the corner, but apart from that, those reds could not have been placed any better at the table. Is he going to be a mid-range shot, or is he going to have a chance to try and cut one red into the left middle? Well, I'll tell you what, if he can see enough of this red to be taken into the middle, then it's going to be a straightforward way for him to try and finish off the match here, because now 16 points of a lead. He's just about managed to take that red away with still using a little bit of the front jaw. And now it's going to be 16 points of a lead there for Barry. Is he going to have a chance of taking the black into the right corner? The answer is yes, he will. So 23 points of a lead. And once again, it seems like this has been a massive shift again. We've seen those shifts to come and go there in this match. But for one last time, it seems like Barry Hawkins was able to, well, surely just find a little bit of inspiration in the factor of he was 48 points down in frame number 14. He was 50 points down in frame number 16. He was able to win both of those frames with breaks of 62 and 68 there. And Yeah, fantastic appearance from him to try and force this match-winning opportunity. And what a shot that he's played, by the way. And trying to get those reds to be separated away from each other. And now, 31 points later, it does seem like Un-Nooh's chances are going to be decreasing by every single second there. Because of Barry Hawkins needing to find just 40 more points. And then it's going to be a safe trip home there for Chipchaya. And he'll have to try and find his way through the qualifiers of the Crucible, and Barry should be cementing his place as the top 16 seeded player. He probably would have been confirmed for that one anyway because of it being a Tour Championship, so he's going to have the best 16, well, best 12 of the 1 year list featuring anyway, so there would have not have been too many players for him to try and be moved down the rankings. For now, 39 points as his advantage over Un-Nooh. 107 still at the table though. And he's going to be taking a couple of extra seconds every single time there that he feels something might be wrong. And it's something that might not necessarily get you the best possible chance of winning the match. But at the same time, he should still have a clear-cut chance ahead of him to try and get those reds into the right corner without compromising himself too much on the positional play. And at this stage, it's over for the tie champ. It does look like that. And if the mistake is about to come, it surely is going to be the pot success mistake. And just purely from the pressure. Because it's going to be a lot more difficult for you to lose that cue ball in a mix of those reds. So the referee for now is going to have to check the situation around the pink spot to see if the pink is going to be respotted. So yeah, it seems like it is going to be able to find his way there, which, to be fair, it's not something that Hawkins would have needed there because the blue is going to be out of place. The black is the only way for him to try and keep this break going without using the bold colours. And Chipchaya now is clearly a lot more interested in what's happening at the table number 1 with the class of 92. As Hawkins now doesn't want to be straight on the black here once again. He doesn't want to be straight here, because that will force him with using the backspin once again. And whatever you do about that, you have to make sure that you don't play that black too close to the right corner. And he's going to be using topspin, which clearly suggests he's not going to be too straight on this one. The black finds the back of the pocket, and Hawkins finds a break of 54 points. That gets him ahead of Un-Nooh by, well, exactly 54 points there, no surprises. 91 still at the table. And this is now going to be a good shot that he needs to play, using the entire width of that pocket really nicely into the left middle. Because of not having that pink on the blue spot was a little bit of a luxury there that he might have taken a little bit for granted, and might have tried to keep that pink to be very much as an option available later on. For now about to take the black for a 62 points of a lead. Once again, loads of backspin needed. And he's probably about to lose touch of the black here, but he's getting closer. He's going for a potential 145 for now. Only using the pink twice. And using the black on all the other attempts as well. But you feel like this time around, he's not going to be playing for the black. The pink and blue are going to be out of position. So that leaves you with only the bold colours to be available. And just carefully taking that cue ball to go all the way. And he seems to have lost his touch a little bit. He's still going to have a touch for the brown. But yeah, he's got a bit of a shake of the head there. Clearly suggesting that he's not going to be happy. But 63 points of a lead, 75 at the table. This brown, yeah, he's not going to lead him towards those reds, whatever you say. The yellow might. But this is going to be such a risky shot for you to be taking on. The only reason that he's going to be taking this shot on is that he clearly feels like Chipchaya is not going to be able to show his best snooker there, because realistically what you should be doing is either get the snooker in behind the brown or get the brown into the middle and just try and play it out for the battle for the last red there. You could also put the yellow on the side cushion, but it shouldn't be a world where Hawkins tries to take the yellow into the middle. And yeah, I thought for a second that's exactly what he was doing there, but no, in the end he was just taking that yellow carefully to be placed onto the left side. So this is now going to be all down to Un-Nooh trying to find his form. And yes, it may be too late, but at least he doesn't need to find a couple of snookers there. 75 points at the table, 63 being the difference in between the two players. And it's now going to be Barry Hawkins to try and step up to the table. He only needs a red in the colour. And then at that point, it is going to be game over, match over, whatever you want to call it. Chipchaya will have no way back. Starting at, well, if it's going to be 70 points of advantage or something. You're not going to be able to pot the yellow. You're not going to be able to pot the blue. So that leaves you with a potential of 4 colours that you can take. For now, it seems like Chipchaya has got a little bit of the upper hand here straight away. Trying to go for these reds to be taken towards the yellow pocket. And now just having a look towards the cue ball here. Is he going to have a clean touch on this one though? Because if he gets that cue ball to be guided through the left side cushion, and he seems to have planted that one perfectly on towards the black ball cushion here. So it's now going to be down to Barry Hawkins to try and do something about this one. Does he try and go for the red into the middle? Because I'm not going to say it's the only option that he has got available to him, but it's probably going to be one of those. Because we still see the class of 92 playing there on table number 1. Let's have a quick look at how the scoring is going to be there. Higgins has got the lead of 41 plays 21, but he's missed the green. So it does look like another twist that's about to come in the 8th frame there. Of course, it is going to be a little bit of a potential challenge there for Chipchaya. I feel like it's never going to happen, but something for you to keep in mind in potentially in 30 minutes time or something. There could be a chance for him to try and potentially force the re-rack. Yes, I know it sounds ridiculous with 63 points down, but if we're going to be stuck there in the same position, of course something that Hawkins doesn't want to achieve, and something that Chipchaya will be desperately looking for, because that will still leave him with a great chance of taking that match to go all the way. For now, he's about to be the player that he's basically forced to be getting that cue ball to be away from the main danger zone. So then what's it going to be? The answer from the Hawk. He's managed to find those 2 long reds into the left corner before. Can he try and make it 3 out of 3? And surely the one that wins him the match right here, right now. And even if he's not going to be able to find the colour after it, he will make the job of Un-Nooh twice, if not 3 times as difficult. Now then, he's going to go for it. Is he going to make it? No, he won't. It would have been a bit too simple if he made that first time. Now, where's the red going to finish? He's going to finish quite close to the green pocket. So what's it going to be then? The yellow is now in the open play. 63 points. GG's match looking like last chance. Well, at least he's going to get this last chance. Green pocket or left middle. Make your bets, everyone. I would genuinely bet for left middle. But I feel like he'll never make it. But I feel like he'll go for it. Oh, wow, what a shot that is. He needs the colour, though. Wow, that is absolutely ridiculous, that from Chipchaya. He's still alive, by the way. He is still alive, and he's still breathing. I don't know how. And he needs the black to be taken here into the right corner. But he's still alive, and he's still breathing. Now then, make sure you miss that front jaw. And this time around, well, I tell you what, the yellow is now in the open play. So it's going to be all down to those 5 reds to be taken with expensive colours, and then the blue, and all of a sudden, you could be in for an absolute cracker of a finish here. Many thanks for all of you. Many thanks for this thrilling match. Thank you for covering. Well, I'll tell you what, Kevin, don't push the horses just yet. Before that red was taken into the middle, I was the one about to join you on that train. But in the end, it seems like we're about to have a red. Oh, thank you very much there for the... joining the members club. Howie-chan, thank you very much. Appreciate the support. Now, 46 points as the difference in between Un-Nooh and Barry Hawkins. So, what's it going to be now? Yeah, clearly, you don't have to be thinking about that blue just yet. You feel like right now, it's going to be all down to taking those 3 reds away. And then it's going to be all down to that cue ball having a little bit of freedom of finding its way past those reds. Now then, loads of backspin, so he's decided to take that cue ball all the way to the reds at the top end of the table. Not going to say it's a bad idea, but it's not going to say it's going to buy him a little bit of time there. So have a look at the points. 75 that he can potentially score, so he should be relatively safe with those, and it's exactly what he's looking at right now. So, yeah, as long as he takes at least one of those reds to be with a pink or black, he should be able to do whatever he wants there with the remaining 2 reds, as long as he still takes color with them. So you feel like he's going to be taking the green or yellow here. About to take the red carefully away. Ooh, this is going to go wrong there for him. He needs to have this green as a potential chance there. He's still technically, to be fair, I mean, he doesn't need to be potting the green, as he now finds himself in a position where he's 38 points down, 43 at the table. Yeah, he seems like he's a little bit nervous there. He seems to be rushing through the decisions, seems to be rushing around the table there. You can see in his body language. Never a good sign that for a snooker player. Never a good sign that. I'm just going to put it out there that I don't really like the body language. It seems like he's really nervous right now. But to be fair, he has got the decision to make. And realistically to me, I'm not even sure what the right one is going to be. And, I mean, that was a high-risk shot there. And he's played that one really well. I'm just going to retract my statement, by the way, really quickly. That was the best way for you to handle the pressure. I mean, that takes a little bit of a boss. And look at that. I mean, he's played the shot and he seems to be. And the blue is still going to be out of position. But apart from that, it is going to be the battle for those 2 reds. I'll tell you what, this is going to be really disappointing for him for how cheaply Hawkins managed to, well, sort of get away with that. Snooker lines up and the hidden hope certainly worked out for him. But you can, I suppose you can say, Chipchai is not really the one to complain there for the way that the previous couple of frames have gone. Now finds himself, as I say, 38 points behind, 43 at the table. All the colours are going to be pretty much, apart from the brown and pink, away from their spots, but all of them to be in the open play as well, apart from the blue. Hawkins has got a potential chance of taking this red away from the right corner. Of course, he can't pot it because of the black being in the way. I tell you what, that was certainly close. And where's this red going to finish? Ooh, I tell you what, this is going to be a bit too close for comfort. Now, what do you do if you're Chipchaya? He's managed to take a really difficult red away previously into the middle. This one is probably going to be just about as difficult there. This is going to be very difficult for you to judge there, but yeah, it seems like he's not going to go for it twice on the bounce. And is he going to just try and get that cue ball to be lined up in behind the pink? It hasn't worked out, and it hasn't worked out at all. He knows it. You probably shouldn't be giving away so many emotions there, though, because that will give the emotional boost away to Barry Hawkins now. Surely, this is the time for him to finish it. He's been brilliant with those long shots. Anything is missable under pressure, but now probably is going to be classified as a mid-range shot here. And has he got it? No, he hasn't. Where's the red going to finish? It's going to finish far from an open play there. Once again, it's not over quite yet. And the battle shall resume there. Chipchaya is about to come back to the table for the millionth time there, you would feel. By the way, thank you for everyone tuning into the stream. Feel free to hit the like and subscribe to the channel. It still feels like a massive quest there for Chipchaya to try and win this match from here, but at least he's in there with a shout. You know, he's snookered on one of those reds. You can certainly see enough of the other one to be positioned onto the right side rail. And now it's going to be all down to just putting that cue ball into the safe place. Or has he tried to take 2 carrots with a single, well, with a single shot there? I'm not sure he's going to work out. He's trying to make the blue clearly into the open play and make it basically a 2-red battle for the winner of the frame. It's a decent effort. He was always going to compromise the cue ball with that, but you feel like the red that is left to Hawkins probably won't go to the left corner. And that will feel disappointing for Barry, because one of his biggest weapons has taken a bit of a hit there, because the blue is still in a difficult position, but now it certainly is going to be playable. And it's the luxury that Chipchaya didn't have previously, especially for the situation that you can have with the brown. You can always try and get in behind of that blue. For now, once again, this is going to be so tense of the battle across double. And don't know why, but my stream has decided to lag there at the worst possible time. Apologies for that. Let me just try and reload it. So this should be back to the action here. So, yeah, once again, this is now all working fine. Apologies for that. It's now going to be turned back to Barry Hawkins. And Yeah, so frames 1 is going to be down to 8. But, well, something that I have missed. Another long shot available here for Barry. And he's going to make one of them inevitably, but not this one. And where's that red going to finish? I mean, they're all going to be finishing, well, potentially possible to the right corner. But now that one is going to be guarded nicely by the black. So, can he see enough of that pocket to try and take those reds away? I tell you what, this is now going to be turning into the red battle, because if Chipchaya gets a chance in, he's got the black to be over the pocket in terms of taking a high value colour with at least one of those reds. He should be getting himself lined up nicely for a frame win at that point. Oh, I mean, he's trying to basically take the black as a bit of a helping hand, but it seems like that's going to be the end of his hunt there. And yep, that red is going to be visible there to Hawkins. It was the right shot to play. He probably played that one in the wrong fashion, but at the same time, it's easy for you to criticize in hindsight. And after all of that, it is going to be the match ball taken. And it is Barry Hawkins that takes this one away from Un-Nooh. 39 points is the lead. He needs to be taking the pink with it as well. But it seems like the story of the World Open is about to be ended. And the Welsh Open story is about to have another chapter. 70 plays 25. There's not going to be any reason now for Un-Nooh to be coming back to the table. He's fought long and hard, but in the end, it was always going to be down to Barry Hawkins to try and lose this one away. Let's see if he's going to be coming back to the table. And seems like he thought about a handshake. So then 45, well, it's probably worth to be playing on there. Come on, Barry, finish it off. Done, thanks. And yeah, he'll fight back for a bit, but you know, he needs to have a free ball to be coming into play now, because now he's going to be 10 points. Not so, well, to be fair, it's a foul and a free ball, and he could be lined up with, you know, very much back to square one there. He needs to try and get it on the first couple of shots, though. This seems like a nice line, but he's overplayed that one a little bit, and the cue ball should find his way past towards free ball always possible. Yeah, it's one of those things where, you know, as long as it's going to be on the last red and you've got less than 12 points, then you should always be worth coming back to the table. The problem is, if he gets that red to be eliminated, and that comes with, obviously, if Hawkins eliminates that red, it's going to be frame and match over. But even if Chipchaya eliminates that red, that goes from being a 20% of a chance, probably, from him winning this frame, down to probably 5, something like that. Played a decent shot here, although he needed to block off the right side escape as well. Seems like something that he wasn't able to do. And to be fair, the fact that there is a little bit of a tap on the table there from Barry may suggest that he needs to try. And, well, this is going to be interesting, because this is where free ball can come into play. And to be fair, he got a really good touch on that red. So, yeah, to be fair, he always looked straightforward there. I don't know why there was a bit of a hesitation there from Barry. He needed to swerve around it, but at the same time, it looked like he always had that one under control. So once again, Un-Nooh needs to be desperately working towards keeping that red at the table. But now, because of how little distance there was in between the red and the cue ball, at the same time, there wasn't any angle. He couldn't really try and focus on getting a snooker lined up. So just had to play a safety shot. And Barry now will respond with a safety shot of his own. And getting that cue ball to be closer to the left corner. Is he going to drop? No, he won't. He's going to slow down just about in time there. And giving the turn back to Chipchaya here. Trying to give this red a little bit of a hit towards the ball cushion. Make sure that red is going to be heading towards the lower end of the table and the left-hand side of it. And yeah, it does seem like it is going to be a bit of a stalemate, which of course favours massively Barry Hawkins, because he's going to be absolutely delighted with the win, you know, from the prize money, from the ranking points point of view, but also from the sporting perspective as well. So he's going to be certainly up for it, for playing a couple more safety shots. Same can't be said about Chipchaya though. He's going to be fighting his way until the end, but eventually he'll give in and go for something reckless. Now he's trying to find the shot in behind the blue. I tell you what, this is now going to be not reckless, but well, I mean, surely Hawkins can't see enough of these reds. And yeah, he's trying to calculate the shot from the side cushion there. So then what's he going to be? He needs to be getting those reds with the contact. So then the yellow is now going to be heading towards the right corner. And Well, at least he manages to get himself another 10-8 game. Yes, so Mark Allen against Jock Trump has finished 10-8, with the favourite taking it right to the death there. It's hard to say who would have been the favourite here, though, as Chipchaya plays a decent shot. As far as the red is going to be concerned there, he's going to be as far as possible from those pockets on the side, cushion on the left-hand side and the right-hand side as well. So sometimes those are the ones that can be missed. Wow, he's missed it by a mile. Wow, I mean, that could have been costly, you know. Hawkins there, missing that contact on the red by a mile. So this is going to be 5 points as he catches the blue. So, of course, could have been a free ball had it been a different touch on the blue. Right now, it's going to be a bit of a different scenario. He's played this shot really well, though. Wow, this is an absolute beauty, that, from Chipchaya. He's going to be 1 point short, though. I'm already thinking about this could be the shot which brings him 4 more points, you know. He's going to have to force Hawkins to be taking this one through the ball cushion all the way. The red is quite far away from the left middle pocket, which is going to be alongside of. So then it seems like it's going to be slightly easier than the one that he's had previously. Still needs to be hit, though. He's going to be close. And he's missed it again. So he's still going to be, as I said before, he's going to be 1 point short right now. Well, I'll tell you what, this is going to be taking a little bit of a turn there. I mean, I said he wouldn't mind playing a couple of safety shots. He looked all under control there. He's going to be a little bit crumbling there. He's got a good bottle there, Hawkins. He's seen it all. He's been there. He's been in the World Championship final, but now finds himself under a little bit of pressure here. 35 points at the table and 36 being the difference. Of course, right now, Chipchaya is going to be desperately looking for that last piece of a missing snooker there. Is he going to be able to try and find it? Of course, he knows that it can be done. Jock Trump against him in the first frame of that semi-final. He needs a little bit of luck here to try and get on the pink, and he's put the pink safe, which is the last thing that he wanted to do there, which is going to be a potential colour out of the game. But also, of course, if he is to try and take this one to go all the way, he will need the total clearance, including the pink. So then gives the turn back to Barry Hawkins, and yeah, it's just going to be a safety shot there to be played. And yeah, he's played this one really well there, Barry. Feels like it is now going to be turn for Chipchaya to be snookered. And this is not going to be an easy snooker at all, because if it's going to be 1 cushion escape, it leaves you with almost a mandatory 2 cushion escape there necessary. And at the same time, it's going to have to try and do it off the left side. Crazy what can happen on snooker table. Don't need green whites to make it better. Yeah, exactly, innit? Exactly, but ooh, he's decided to go that one with a really aggressive way. I mean, I do wonder where the cue ball's going to finish. Don't tell me he's going to finish in behind the green. No, he won't. He got the nearest of touches on that red, nearly fluked the pink into the right corner, and now he should still be lined up with a straightforward shot there, Barry. I mean, come on. He's taken a little bit of time there, but this one should be put away into the corner. Although there is going to be pressure on this one, so it felt like if he had 3 snookers in his bag, then could have been a different scenario. And, well, he hasn't taken it. He wasn't even close to it. Now the cue ball, he's going to get a little bit of a touch. He wants it to be behind the green. I'll tell you what, now, if you take the black with this red and you try and get the snooker in behind the yellow, this is going to be really interesting there from Chipchaya. And, I mean, I say this red is not an easy one. It's not quite as easy as the black the Dennis Taylor managed to put in that incredible decider. Ooh, I mean, he's decided to try and leave that cue ball on, red on the table. It's a decent effort, that, but unfortunately, it's not going to come to anything there, it would seem. Unless he's got the black to be slightly impacting there, the way that Hawkins wants to approach the shot. And at least force him to take the shot into the cushion there, and then, you know, give yourself a chance. And he's taking this one well. Now, this red can be potted, but what can be done about the yellow and the pink combination? Well, it's going to be interesting. It felt like probably you should be taking this one on there. Because, well, to be fair, I mean, there's not going to be an easy way to be getting on the black or the pink. Yeah, the problem is, if the pink was the yellow and the yellow was the pink, it would have been a straightforward solution, and you would have said Un-Nooh is going to be the favourite to be probably winning the frame here, because you could have got a mighty snooker in behind what now is the yellow. And of course, it's going to be the problem of him actually having to take that yellow on. And the pink is probably going to be way too close for the blackboard cushion for that one to be used. So then, what's he going to be? Trying to take this red and hammer that one home into the yellow pocket. Doesn't want to be impacted by the green. And he's going to be disappointed with that one. Clearly didn't get the purchase on the cue ball contact that he wanted. Now, there's not going to be any way back here. He just needs one snooker. And he needs to pot the black for now, because that clearly is going to be something on his mind. And he's not going to be a mission easy there. Lined up ahead of himself. So carefully try and take, well, I say carefully, absolutely hammer that black home. But what's he going to be able to do with the yellow here? I mean, the black is about to return onto its own spot, but I mean, the worst thing is, I can't really see him doing on the green, the brown, the blue, the pink, the black either. He needs to try and do it now. Otherwise, he's just going to be limiting his options there down to how many colours he wants to try and leave at the table there. So, yeah, he decided to take the... I can't blame him there, because there wasn't anything that you could have done there. But I was thinking about trying to go for the same shot that actually got him 4 points previously on the green and brown. But I feel like he won't really give you the edge that you need there. So, what's he going to be there, Un-Nooh? He's got the wrong side of the green as well. So, yeah, it's really struggling to understand. You could try and be using the blue here with that cue ball. That's what he's tried. Needs that power on the cue ball to be slightly more than what he has produced. I'll tell you what, the black could still be coming into play. Wow. Not quite a wow, but it was really close to being a wow. If, and it's an if, but if the green hadn't bounced from the blackboard cushion at all, this would have been a mighty snooker. Because it bounced a little bit, I feel like Hawkins can see the edge of it on the left-hand side, but still, he's going to be under pressure. And, of course, if you take the black away, you're probably not going to give a free ball, but you never quite know. And that will put Un-Nooh right back in the game there. As much as it may seem straightforward, with so much being at stake, this is going to be such a tense shot there. And every single second that Hawkins has taken there, he's going to be putting even more and more pressure on him, on his shoulders. So then what's he going to be? Don't tell me he's going to try and swerve around it. He's going to try and get around the blackboard cushion. Wow, this is risky. He's got it. Brilliant shot that. Wow, I didn't think that was possible. He got mighty amount of spin on that one. And he still managed to come away unscathed there. Back to you, Un-Nooh. What can you try and produce here? I don't know why he's got break of 10 points there next to his name. It's 26 behind, 25 at the table. That 1 point. It's always 1 point there on the snooker table. It could not have been a different story. Could have not been a respot. Could have not been 1 point ahead there. It needed to be 1 point behind. And yeah, the mission doesn't get any harder than this, because the pink is now out of the game. So you're basically working with 4 colours. One of them is the target area for you. And, well, I say the pink is out of position. He's now managed to put it from one side cushion to another. But at least on the side cushion now. It wasn't on a blackboard cushion beforehand. So, as much as it probably won't help him massively, it gives him a little bit of a helping hand. And once again, so close to getting that snooker to be in behind the black at the same time, whilst trying to cannon the green into the pink. So I say it's so close because I feel like Hawkins is going to be able to get through to the green, but with him taking minutes on every single shot there, which is understandable, you never quite know if he's going to be trying to attempt this one to just send it all the way into the sort of green pocket. Well, in the end, he hasn't done that, but he's put the brown to be out of position as well. It does seem like he's running out of options there, Un-Nooh. So a cross double potentially, but he's not going to have the power to try and get that cue ball to go all the way past the blue. So Yeah, just trying to find the edge and get that cue ball to be heading in behind the brown, in behind the black, I should say. Once again, it's a decent safety under normal circumstances, but not now. But he needs to try and find the snooker. And needs those 4 foul points desperately to be getting himself in with a chance. And opportunity to be his for the taking. And now a very careful nudge towards the blue there from Barry Hawkins. Making sure he keeps that green to be in open play. Ideally, he wants to try and keep it on the top end of the table there, because the lower end has got the black, the pink and the brown, although the latter of the two are going to be in quite a problem of a position. So, as said about the pink, this is going to be quite close in relation to the pink there. Oh, I tell you what, this is a mighty shot there that he's played. And this is a really good shot there from Un-Nooh. And this one could still be a little bit of an interesting ending there, because, yeah, he can't get through to the bulk line here, to the bulk cushion, I should say. It's the only way of doing it. He's going to have to be off the right side, but there is going to be plenty of way for you to try and get around that green and for you to mess this one up there. And I tell you what, this is going to be such an interesting ending if that is to be the case. So, 2 cushions there, you would think. He's not going to be able to do it with 1 cushion, surely. He needs to give himself an option of 2. He's gone for 2 cushions, and he's got that green. Really good shot there from Barry. Once again, Un-Nooh is going to be looking to try and get that cue ball to be used in a straight line of the brown and the pink. Get the green to be in the mix of the 2 of them. So just trying to get that cue ball super close to the brown. He seems to have got it there for a second, but at the same time, clearly didn't get that cue ball close enough to the brown. And Barry's going to have a chance. That clearly was the most difficult snooker shot that he had to play, especially with having no room for error at all. And he hasn't fluked this green now, has he? He may have fluked the snooker now. And, well, this is now going to be getting to a ridiculous point there for Un-Nooh, because he needs to be keeping this green away from the pocket whilst not pocketing the cue ball. He's managed to do that pretty well, though. Keep that cue ball in its safe place. Was never going to control that pace of the green to the perfect extent, but at least now he got himself lined up with a chance to be taking his green to go all the way into the right part of the table. And very carefully, just try and nudge it to the right corner there. If you're Barry Hawkins, what's it going to be then? And that's what he tried. And yeah, it was absolutely a mile away from that one. Once again, he don't really want to be forcing that green to be heading into the zone of a blue. Although I feel like with it being such a diagonal shot, it's going to be very difficult for him to try and invent something there from Un-Nooh's point of view. Yeah, he's just thinking about the way of trying to get that cue ball to go all the way around the blue. And he was looking for that pink once again. He needs that cue ball to keep it away. And will unlucky there. Fine margin of a shot, but in the end it could be the one that brings all the suffering to an end. Once again, it's a chance for Barry to just try and nudge that green into the yellow pocket. And for one last time, it will be the end of Un-Nooh. You'll probably have to fight back on the brown as well. But it is going to be game over at that stage. And it is going to be game over. So the green is about to disappear. Let's see if he's going to snooker himself on the brown. It looks like he will. So it may not be over after all. 29 points behind. So 2 snookers needed on the brown. It is going to be a bit of a mission impossible now for Un-Nooh. And it is going to be getting more and more frustrating, as I said. For now, he's been able to keep his emotions down to a minimum. But yeah, the pink being on one side of the table, the black being on its spot there, the blue being so close to the green pocket at the same time, he needs to try and find the contact point with the blue, but you can see that he's not going to have, even the inspiration is not going to be there. Barry, happy boy, thank you for coverage, top class. Yeah, you probably is going to be the end one for today because of how dramatic and how much of the action there has been, but feel free to be back if, you know, if Hawkins is going to be playing himself into getting himself to the quarterfinal. I'll have to make a decision there whether it's going to be Sean Murphy against Watchalong or Neil Robertson against Barry Hawkins there. We'll have to wait and see about that one. Same with Un-Nooh, of course, makes his way all the way to the quarterfinals. but that seems like it's not going to happen. Although the cue ball is going to keep away from the green pocket for now. Well, class commentary. Thank you very much, Peter. And once again, a chance for Barry to try and get this brown to be disappearing into the right part of the table. And that certainly has been the case. And the story of the match is that Barry Hawkins had the edge on Chip Chai-Nu throughout the majority of it. And in the end, after all the suffering that they both have had, it is going to be Hawkins that finds himself to be winning the match. And to be winning it by a fine margin as well. Winning 4 out of the last 5 frames. And certainly doing some fantastic racing style there. Chip Chai is going to come to the table to offer his congratulations. It is going to be Barry Hawkins that takes it at the end. 10 frames to 8. Great drama. 901 points for him. 871 for Chip Chai-Nu. And after an almighty decider, well, not quite the decider, but the deciding frame at the end of frame number 18, it was the end. And it is now going to be only the beginning of the Barry Hawkins' campaign. He will be through to the quarterfinal. He will play Neil Robertson. By the way, let's have a look how the class of 92 have finished their match on the first session. And it's 6-2 advantage to Higgins. Higgins taking 6 frame away from Mark Williams on the bounce. Incredible performance there from the Wizard of Wishaw that is looking to try and play Mark Selby. As I say, this is going to be it for today. And just a very quick overview on the way that the match has gone there. First frame won by Chip Chai-Nu, then a couple won by Barry Hawkins. Similar sort of styles there played throughout the entire match, and the 18th frame probably is going to be the fitting ending there to the way that the match has gone. You know, very close to the first mini session of the morning there, 2 frames each. In the end, able to take the fine edge there at the end, winning 3 frames on the bounce there with Barry Hawkins, taking himself into a 5-3 over lead. And it was always going to be difficult for Chip Chai to try and come back from that point onwards, but at the end, he was able to do so. He found himself being 6 frames each, 7-6 ahead, 8-7 ahead, and at that point onwards, he was 3 frames on the bounce for Barry Hawkins without any mercy, without any prisoners taken there. Barry clearly was the better man at the end of the second session. Chip Chai was the one that started it all, but at the end, it was all down to the finish, and it was a great finish there from Barry. He's now going to play against Neil Robertson in the quarterfinal stage. And as I say, this is going to be it for today. Thank you very much for tuning in, and feel free to tune in for the quarterfinals. Zhao Xingtong is certainly going to be featuring on the channel. What the opposition is going to be and what the second semi-quarterfinal is going to be, I'll have to make a decision on that. I'll let you know in the post-tab as well. Once again, appreciate all the support. Feel free to hit the like on the stream as you walk away from the channel. Subscribe as well for more content like this, and I'll see you soon. Into the quarterfinals we go. Let's see which one of them is going to be able to make it all the way and win the title of the Tour Championship and lead themselves as a real favourite ahead of the Crucible run in Sheffield. Thank you again, and speak to you soon.